Chance! And it's a goal! Oh, what a goal!
All the action from all the biggest games.
Oh, it's the second goal!
This is Open All Mics from SportsZone.
From BBC Radio Scotland.
Welcome to Open All Mics on BBC Radio Scotland. 5 games in the top flight this afternoon. We've got them all covered for you. We've also got reporters at 2 of the games in the Championship. Let's then get to Hamilton Accies against Dundee. There for us, Amy Canavan.
Yeah, good afternoon to you, Kenny. It is hotting up at both ends of the Championship, and these teams are right in the mix at opposing ends. Hamilton Accies have strung together a good run of results recently, including that 1-0 win against Partick Thistle last weekend, which I was at, but they made no ground on Arbroath, who also won. Dundee, well, they will have had a little close eye on last night's game. No doubt the second half was a real cracker, especially with Queens defeating Ayr 2-0 to extend their lead at the top of the table. A win for Gary Boyer's side today will take them to within 2 of the Spiders. Plenty to play for today at the ZLX Stadium. And the referee for this one is Don Robertson.
Thank you to Amy Canavan. Good afternoon to Ailey Davis. Inverness, Cally Thistle against Morton for you, Ailey.
Yeah, good afternoon, Kenny. Inverness looking to go 5 games unbeaten today in the Championship with victory over visitors Green at Morton. Morton, though, they are looking for their first win of 2023. The last 2 meetings between the sides this season, they've gone the way of the visitors, though. Inverness, of course, buoyed by that news that they have been reinstated to the Scottish Cup after Queen's Park fielded an ineligible player in that match on Tuesday evening. In the league, though, it's just a point separating these 2 sides, and points so vital now for any kind of promotion push.
Thanks to Ailey Davis. I'll bring you the goal news from right across the country on Open All Mics. Looks like a lively start. Willie Miller at Pittodrie.
Yeah, reasonably lively. Aberdeen taking the game now to Motherwell. Motherwell that had a very early start. Duke along the byline, showing his pace. Surely by now players know that, you know, Duke, number 11 for Aberdeen, is quite tricky and quite pacey, and make allowances for it, but it just doesn't seem to have sunk in. It was Matt Johnson there that kind of dithered on the ball, allowing Duke to hit the byline in a dangerous position, but made nothing of it. Yeah, it's very lively start from both sides here, Kenny, so let's hope it continues, but it's still goalless at Pittodrie.
Yeah, let's hope for plenty of goals this afternoon. You expecting to see a few at Ibrox, Rory Loy?
Yes, quite possibly, Kenny. Quite possibly. There's a lot of players on the pitch now who can score goals, and I include players on Ross County's side as well, with Eamon Brophy now in the team. You've got Simon Murray on the bench, and one thing I like about the recruitment from Malky Mackay is he's fixed the potential problem that Ross County had, or the problem they had was scoring goals. They'd only scored 16 before playing Kilmarnock when they won 3-0. They've now scored 19. They've brought Brophy in, they've brought Murray in to support and help Jordan White. They've brought Noah Kenny in midfield, who I think's a good addition as well. So solid signings from Malky Mackay. We'll see if they can hurt Rangers today. It'll be a difficult task. As of yet, Todd Cantwell's played a lovely ball with outside of the foot across to Morelos, but Iacovitti just intercepted it. Other than that, there's not been any other action to talk of so far, Kenny.
Thanks for Rory.
There's a change at Tynecastle from the team sheet. Peter Pollitt is on the park and Jamie McGrath is not there. I'm not sure what has happened. I didn't see anything.
Picked up an injury in the warm-up, Michael. It was on Twitter. And I think Kai Fotheringham comes on the bench.
So Peter Pollitt is starting the game, and he picked the ball up a couple of minutes ago there and had driven forward with it, and I just instantly noticed he was starting the game, not on the team sheet, but injury to Jamie McGrath in the warm-up.
Yeah, difficult times for Dundee United. As I said, some protests from the fans there midweek in their defeat at Rugby Park. What's happening, Stuart Kettlewell, in the early stages in Paisley?
Nothing much to tell you, Kenny, so far. It's kind of settling in. We were a couple of minutes late in starting, but it's been all Hibs so far in terms of...
Oh, do you know what? We've been troubled by that ground all season. The game in Paisley there. So Stuart covering St Mirren against Hibs. Will fix that line and get Stuart back up as soon as possible. Not miss a thing. We've got the games coming in. Yeah, chance.
John Lundstrom so slack in the middle of the pitch. He gives the ball away. I think it's George Harmon races down the left-hand side. He gets a shot away, it deflects, it comes back out, and then the follow-up shot's deflected wide for a corner. Really, really poor play by John Lundstrom in the middle of the pitch there.
Yeah, really slack there from Rangers. Let's get to Alan Preston, Livingston against Kelly. I mean, both these sides, Livy, again, a staple now of the top 6, Alan, but that was a really important win for Kilmarnock midweek.
It was, but it's on the road that they've got the problems. They've not won away on the road. In fact, they've only got one away win in the top flight since 2020. And now, yes, they were out of the league for a year, I get that, but they've got to get their away form sorted if they want to stay in this league. Livingston, 5 wins out of 11 at home. Impressive stuff for David Martindale's side, and they'll be heavy favourites today for me in this one. I've just forced a corner.
First goal of the day in Scotland has gone to Annan Athletic. Tommy Goss with the goal there in 4 minutes. Bonnyrigg Rose 0, Annan Athletic 1. Stuart, you're back with us?
Yeah, Kenny, I'm back with you. Yeah, I was making that point. It's been all ball possession from Hibs so far. Not a great deal happening. Hibs sort of playing round that structured, disciplined shape of St Mirren, but no chances of yet. I think the wind's going to play a real factor in this one, Kenny. It's pretty wild here in Paisley.
Oh! Don't know if the keeper saved that. If it's hit the bar, it's a header at the back post. Looks like from Fitzwater, I think it is. Corner comes in, you'll be able to tell. I think it's up the far end. I think the keeper gets a hand to it and punches it away.
Tricky to see. Alan, looks as if it's come off the bar.
Take it away,
Yeah, it's for the visitors. It was a mistake from Zach Delaney giving the ball away, and it was picked up by Calvin Miller for Greenock Morton. A long range effort straight into the back of the net. So it's Greenock Morton that are ahead. Inverness, Cally Thistle 0, Greenock Morton 1.
What a start then for the away side. One game in the Championship last night finished Queen's Park 2, Ayr United 0. Just looking at the table, Queen's Park 4 points clear of Ayr United and Dundee as things stand. Let's talk about Lewis Stevenson, John Hughes, because he's a player you'll know very, very well. What a servant he has been for Hibs Football Club.
Unbelievable. He's a manager's dream. Comes in, sets a standard, conducts himself in a fantastic manner, gives it everything he's got. Not a problem. And as I say, he's a pleasure to work with. I'll say this to the Hibs fans, Kenny. Appreciate him now, because he's coming towards, he's probably got another couple of years in him, and sometimes that appreciation is not shown for the terraces, because he's one of their own, and when they're one of their own, it's you've got affinity that's easy to gear him stick, but he's been absolutely outstanding. Hibs have been trying to replace him for a number of years. They cannot do it.
Shot saved.
Yep.
Newbley back in the team. Great to see him. He got 20 minutes at Parkhead. Good shot. Keeper down. Low to his right hand side. Knocks it away. Good start by Livingston.
Yeah, it's the 450th appearance, John. You're right. People have tried to replace him. It's not happened. Is he quite a quiet lad?
Yeah, but unassuming. He gets on with it, and he's a leader on the pitch. And he'll be giving all these young boys that set a standard, the way he trains, the way he conducts himself, lead from the front, and just absolutely fantastic.
What an absolutely sensational goal for Hamilton Accies, Kenny. Apologies, I was just having to take it in there. A cracking hit by Connor Smith. He's easily 25 yards out. I was actually looking across because Jean-Pierre Tihi is down, and his teammates don't actually care right now because they are celebrating an absolute screamer of a goal. It's been all Dundee, but that is a peach into the top hand corner, and no chance for the Dundee keeper. It's Hamilton Accies 1, Dundee 0.
Yeah, shock scoreline on the cards there. Wolves have gone 1-0 up at home to Liverpool. You'll match it on 5 minutes there, and looking at another score in Bonnyrigg Rose 1, Annan Athletic 1, Callum Conley on 6 minutes. See Callum Patterson scored for Sheffield Wednesday. He of course was linked with a return to Hearts. We had the sporting director Joe Savage in Sports on a Tuesday night. He said he's still a target. We'll see how things are looking in the summer. Man United are 1-0 up at home to Crystal Palace. Bruno Fernandes on 7 minutes. Michael, you'll have played. Michael, you'll have played with Stevenson. What's he like to play with?
Say that again.
You'll have played with Lewis Stevenson, Michael. What's he like?
Just exactly as John was talking about. A really good guy, very unassuming, hard working, and look, I couldn't agree more with John in regards to he's obviously flown under the radar for a number of years. Hibs trying to replace him or whatever, but he's a dependable guy that can play in an area of the park that there isn't. It's not as if there's a lot of good quality players. You get players that can go and play left back or whatever, but they can't defend, or they're not particularly good attacking. Lewis is competent at both sides of it, and obviously getting towards the end of his career now, you can still see the job that he does for Hibs in regards to whenever he's chucked in, always does what is asked of him, and also he gets in other areas of the park as well. They'll put him in midfield sometimes in a derby game, and he does a job there as well. So yeah, it's wonderful to see him picking up so many appearances, and he deserves it.
Special day for him and his family. 450 appearances.
That's a goal at Tynecastle.
Yeah.
Dundee United 1-0 up.
Wow.
Stephen Fletcher with a really good finish. The ball got played down the left-hand side, and it got played across into the box. I think it was Niskanen that played it across.
Yeah,
Fletcher nicked in, got the touch, and then turned and nutmegged Xander Clark to put Dundee United 1-0 up.
Shot there, Alan.
That's a goal there for Livingston. Newbley, they're to the byline, it's whipped across. The keeper dives down low at his near post. The ball flicks up, and there's Newbley from about 5 yards, heading it into the back of the net. Great start for Livingston. It's been coming. Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 0. Joe Newbley.
He's a big player, isn't he, for Livingston, Alan? They've missed him, although they've managed to do okay with him being out, but what a huge boost to have him back at this stage of the season. He does really well. I just like his work rate. I think he creates an awful lot for himself as well, whether it's back pressing, working for the team, links the game, but he picks out those areas really well. It's a good finish. And just to get back, Michael, to the Stephen Fletcher goal, how close was he to the away fans there as he celebrated?
No, it's not an issue with away fans, is it? Just home fans is the problem, is it not?
Takes his goal really well, slots it home. Cool, calm, composed.
In all seriousness, and that, on that front, I didn't have a problem with, Morelos at all. He was miles away from the edge of the park, and, players get so much stick off the fans nowadays. They're no robots. And then, they're not going and causing serious problems. He was miles away from the edge of the park. I didn't have a problem with what Morelos was doing the other night.
It's actually a good point. I saw a video on Twitter of Scott Brown scoring for Aberdeen against Rangers at Pittodrie, celebrating in front of the Rangers fans. And why not? He'd be getting stick the whole game.
Apologies to interrupt, Kenny. Just to let you know that John Lundstrom, I noticed he was, he wasn't particularly comfortable after he gave that ball away, trying to get back in. He has had to come off here, and Malik Tillman will come on. It's interesting the way Rangers are playing today. Actually, they're playing the three in front of the back four with Lundstrom, which will now be Tillman somewhere, but Lundstrom, Jackie and Cantwell, and you've got actually a front two of Sakala and Morelos.
Oh, what a brilliant start that is! And as Bruce Anderson, we see this finish, Leanne. What a finish! Ball's whipped in for the right, he takes it on the volley with his right foot, goes across the keeper. Brilliant start for Livingston. Kilmarnock are not the races. Livingston 2, Kilmarnock 0.
He makes it look so easy. So easy, but the timing of the run's absolutely perfect. The delivery is immaculate, but to put it back across the goalkeeper in the manner in which he does, as you say, it's a dream start.
He's a natural goal scorer, and he's starting to do it on a more regular basis. What a fantastic finish.
Yeah, goals flying in, so Livingston well in command of that game. Dundee United a shock at the early advantage of Stephen Fletcher in 9 minutes, 1-0 up away at Hearts. Wolves now 2, Liverpool 0. Craig Dawson in 12 minutes. Aston Villa 1, Leicester City 1. Watkins with the opening goal. Ollie Watkins on 9 minutes for Villa. James Maddison has just equalised for Leicester.
Can I just go back to Dundee United and Hearts to Michael? Michael, you listened to Liam Fox's interview before the game. He feels he's got enough to stay up. Do you agree with that?
There, Michael?
No, we've missed.
Maybe a problem in the line there. I mean, there's a lot of unhappy fans there.
Kenny, I think that he's got enough. If you've got players like Mulgrew, Edwards and Fletcher up front, we touched on it the other night there. Fletcher gets his goal of the day. He's a big player for Dundee United. I agree with Liam. I think they've got enough to stay up.
Well, we shall see. They badly needed a win today. The guys seem very, very poor despite missing a penalty. The first big chance of that game at Rugby Park midweek, but they want to lose that match, and they are ahead at Tynecastle this afternoon. Stephen Fletcher on 9 minutes. Livingston 2-0 up on Kilmarnock at Almond Vale. Joel Newbley on 10 minutes. Bruce Anderson on 12 minutes. And let's get back into the Championship. An early goal for you, Amy Canavan. Hamilton against Dundee.
Yeah, an absolute cracker, Kenny. I'm really still trying to get over it. A sensational hit. I'm trying to figure out exactly how far out it was. I'm thinking it's about 25 plus. I think there's a few Accies fans around me that'll definitely be stretching it to the 30 mark, but just a sensational hit from Connor Smith. Of course, he joined on loan last week from Hearts, and he's certainly making his presence known around these parts. Dundee, the response has been okay. They've certainly been a little bit more they've been in and around the box. They've not had a clear-cut chance, in all honesty, but they're getting on the ball, put it that way. But it still is Hamilton Accies 1, Dundee 0.
Lovely play from Ryan Jack there. He's now at the base of the midfield 3, and Lundstrom's gone off, and Tillman's playing one in front. He picks up the ball. He plays a lovely stride rule pass. The ball ends up with Tillman, shows lovely feet. He's actually claiming for a handball. I didn't think it was, but it comes back out to Cantwell, and he tries to open up the goal, shape his body
can you hear me?
with the instep, and very, very nearly finds that top corner.
Loud and clear, Mr. Stewart. What's happening?
That was just producer Frank fiddling around with buttons.
Michael, can I come in? They didn't give you...
By all means, Willie.
Yeah, they didn't give you any stick when you had technical problems. Is it only me that gets a verbal from my teammates at BBC?
I heard it all, Willie. I heard it all.
Did you hear it all, did you?
Yeah.
I seem to get quite some verbal abuse from my teammates at BBC whenever I have technical issues.
Who's the worst culprit?
Well, who do you think?
Mr. Preston?
Hearts supporter, yeah.
What's happening at the Codry?
Not a great deal. It's disintegrated into two teams that are really struggling to find any form. Duke had one opportunity. Again, he managed to twist and turn, use his pace and his skill in the box. His shot was easily saved, though, by Kelly in goal. Other than that, there has been very little goal-mouth action. Plenty of fight and spirit. There's no doubt that both managers are getting that from their players and their teams, but sadly to say, there's very little class and show so far.
Biscuit, just going back to your game there, the two goals have come from the right-hand side. Who's it that's whipping the crosses in?
Devlin's been magnificent.
And it's the two crosses.
Brilliant.
Has he put the two crosses in?
I think he got they certainly got the second one. We'll just try to see, because up the far end, John, it's difficult to see up the far end, but whoever it is caused all sorts of concern. The second one was 100% Devlin.
How highly do you rate him, Alan? I was speaking to you, McCall, said out with the top two. For me, he's the best right back.
I think he does well. I really do. He's difficult to beat when you're going at him one-on-one. He gets forward, and then you can see he's got real quality when he puts it in the box. It was that ball in, but equally the finish was sublime for Anderson as well. He gets across the defender and passes it in the back of the net. But Devlin's done really well. I think he's out of contract in the summer.
Yeah, decent player, good engine. Let's then get to pace. Stuart Kettlewell, what's happening there?
Yeah, Kenny, it's been all Hibs. They've had a pretty decent opening 15-16 minutes of this one. One real effort was from Eli Yuhan, just at the angle, well saved by Trevor Carson, but just as it stands now, a bit worrying. It looks as if it's Harry McCurdy that's went down. Not sure if it was a slip, Kenny, on the surface or whatever, but he was certainly signalling to the bench that he was in a bit of distress. So we'll just watch that one in the next 30 seconds or so and see if Hibs have to make an early change. But they've started really well. They're passing the ball well, getting into the final third, and just at the moment St Mirren's struggling to get out.
Stuart, that looks like a strange one for McCurdy. I thought it would have come from a chat. He's tweaked it.
Twisted his ankle.
I'd heard a wee bit about the pitch, Leanne.
It's his ankle.
I'd heard a wee bit about the pitch being pretty firm, so sometimes that change of direction.
It's one of those ones as he's went to plant the foot, his toes caught the grass first, and he's just rolled it from in to out. Really sore.
Yeah, he's definitely in a bit of trouble. He's been carried off just now. I'll keep you posted, Kenny, with the change that Hibs will inevitably have to make.
Good man, Stuart. So the latest scorelines in the Premiership: Aberdeen 0, Motherwell 0, Hearts 0, Dundee United 1. Stephen Fletcher with a goal there on 9 minutes. Livingston 2, Kilmarnock 0, Joel Nubley on 10, Bruce Anderson 2 minutes later. Rangers 0, Ross County 0, St Mirren 0, Hibs 0. Into the Championship, Arbroath 0, Wraith Rovers 0, Hamilton Accies 1, Dundee 0, Inverness Cally Thistle 0, Morton 1, Partick Thistle 0, Cove Rangers 0. Into League One, Airdrie 0, Clyde 0, Alloa 1, Peterhead 0, Dunfermline 0, Montrose 0, Kelty Hearts 0, Falkirk 0, Queen of the South 0, FC Edinburgh 0. And in League 2, the early goals there: Bonnyrigg Rose 1, Annan Athletic 1, East Fife 0, Stirling Albion 0, Elgin City 0, Albion Rovers 0, Forfar 0, Stranraer 0, Stennismuir 0, Dumbarton 0. And in England, we brought you that big shock in the early kick-off. The leaders beaten, Everton 1, Arsenal 0. Sean Dyche's first game in charge of Everton. Aston Villa 1, Leicester 1, Brentford 0, Southampton Southampton 0, Brighton 0, Bournemouth 0, Manchester United 1, Crystal Palace 0, and my goodness, what a struggle it's been for Liverpool this season. Wolves 2, Liverpool 0. So what's happening? Any sign of a Hearts fight back there, Michael?
Just had an attack there that fizzled out to nothing, but previous to that, Dundee United have been looking pretty lively on the break. They played a lovely bit of interchange, got up to the edge of the box, and Fletcher and Pollock linking with each other. It then dropped to Middleton, who had the strike, and Xander Clark had to make the save. So at the moment, you've got to say that Dundee United deserving of their lead and looking the better team.
Yeah, what a start. Stephen Fletcher with the goal there. The goal that was scored by Allo, 1-up against Peterhead. Connor Salmon on 17 minutes with that one. What are we seeing from Kilmarnock? What a dreadful start, Alan Preston.
Really poor start. They've got a chance here. They're going to go forward. Surely they've got a strike at goal. Not yet. Yeah, they've been really poor. Kenny, really have been. They need to get the next goal in this game, and I've got to say, Livingston serious contenders for this third spot in the league. You know, Hearts are favourites, but Livingston, the way they're going, and at home especially, you know, that's. And I was watching Davy Martindale's interview at Parkhead the other night, and he's right. You just go to Parkhead and it's like, let's get this game out of the way, kind of thing, and that's it done for him now, so he can concentrate. And I fancied them today because of Kilmarnock's really poor away record, and it's been a dream start. Kilmarnock need to get better. They need to get people round the box on the ball if they can, but they're finding it extremely difficult. Livingston can add to their goal tally here today with this.
Willie, perhaps a tough one here, but do you think Aberdeen should look at David Martindale? Do you think the Aberdeen fans would be happy with that?
Well, I think what you've got to do is look, you know, at any candidates that would impress you. Now, his performances have been impressive. The way he's led Livingston has been impressive. Is he the right man for Aberdeen? There's other aspects to take into consideration. I think there's other aspects they can take into consideration with any manager that you're thinking about employing. There's a process to go through. It shouldn't take too long, Kenny, that process. And there you've got John Hughes, who's openly thrown his hat in the ring. I'm sure that there's many more managers that are out of a job putting their hat in the ring. So you take all them into consideration, and then you look at the ones that are in a job, and then you put it all together, whittle it down, get to maybe a short list of 3. If you can, you need to talk to them, obviously, if you get permission from the club, if they're employed, you know, and then make your mind up. And listen, most of the time board of directors get it wrong anyway. Most of the time.
Listen, Willie, the first thing he's got to do is make up with his cousin. That got a bit touchy earlier, doesn't it?
He says dinosaur. I've been told I've had a head the size of a dinosaur.
I've got a head the size of a Great Dane.
So Willie, was that a yes or no to David Martindale for Aberdeen?
Well, you know, in this programme we don't answer with yes and no, Michael. You know, that would just spoil the afternoon.
I think you've got to look at Davy Martindale's recruitment. It's been brilliant. Guys like Newbley, Lyndon Dykes over the period. He brought Halkett in as a young boy as well. Devlin, as we touched on earlier.
It's the same with Hearts. It's no rocket science. You go for standing up is what you know you're going to get every week. We're talking about Louis Stevenson, plays every week, 7 out of 10 every week, and that's the secret of it.
No, I get that, but I think at Hearts they've got Joe Savage in recruiting the players. Robbie will get the final say, but Davy, as we know, does everything.
But if you look at the Hearts, Snodgrass, Halliday in there, Mackay in there, these guys know what they're doing.
Yep.
Kenny, I'll chuck a name in for you. For me, with Aberdeen, and you know, I'm not sure what the reaction would be, but if I was Aberdeen, I'd be looking at Malky Mackay.
Right, let's get some reaction. Leanne, why don't you give us that? Malky Mackay done a grand job at Ross County.
He has. I just wonder if even guys like Malky, Davy Martindale, would those guys tick the box for an owner like Dave Cormack? I don't think so.
Kenny, I'm going to throw in Stephen Robinson.
Based on the historical stuff with those managers, I don't think Dave Cormack would be the type of owner that would go for that.
You think he wants something different? He's got to be seen to appointing somebody different.
Well, it looks like that, unless he does a complete U-turn on his 2 recent appointments. He probably changed slightly for Goodwin. No, I know that, Michael. Kenny's just asking for my opinion on it, and that's the opinion. I don't disagree with the fact. I think Malky would be a good fit. And he knows the league, and you're spot on about recruitment and these types of things. I don't think Aberdeen need to do too much just now other than steady the ship get a solid foundation, get back to basics, use the players that they've got at their disposal, try and get more out of that player group. Come the summer, yes, you're probably going to need to add a handful of players to enhance the quality that's there. There'll be a few going out the exit door, no doubt. So you need somebody that I think understands a way to do that quickly. I don't think it can be a project at Aberdeen.
They've got a lot of time, Leanne, because there's no window now. They've got a lot of time. Whoever they bring in will get time to assess the players and then have a plan for the summer window.
Do they have time? Does anyone actually think they're in danger of being involved in a relegation battle?
No, I don't think so.
No chance.
So, I think they've picked up enough points already to see them okay throughout the rest of the season. But I think Malky Mackay is a great shout. I heard Willie on the radio the other day saying that he felt that Jim Goodwin maybe didn't have the experience before the Aberdeen job, because it's a totally different headspace to be in. The expectation's much higher. You look at Malky Mackay, as Leanne says, he's got the experience of the league, but he's also worked with some big clubs down south where the expectation is there. So I think he covers a lot of boxes, and I think he would be a very solid appointment as well.
Right, Stuart Kettlewell, you were saying you think Stephen Robinson is the man?
Yeah, Kenny, for the point of view, St Mirren fans aren't going to thank me for that, but you look at the work he's done and what he's built at two football clubs now, steadying the ship, making them incredibly competitive. You know, a couple of cup finals at Motherwell. We're looking at St Mirren in the top six. I think that a lot of arrows would point to Stevie. His recruitment's been superb as well. And do you know what he does, Kenny? He gets his players to buy into exactly what his ethos is, what his philosophy is, and I think that's the key. I think I spoke to you last week about Aberdeen, maybe a mixed message between manager and what the owner of the football club want. But you see how lined up it is with Stephen Robinson at the clubs he's been at. Maybe he's not a candidate, but I'm just saying, I look at the work he's done now at a couple of clubs in Scotland, and I think there has to be a name in the reckoning.
Kenny, when you look at, I just think about what happened at Kilmarnock and when Steve Clarke came in, and I spoke about it at the time. It was a club that I felt was in serious decline, that was going nowhere because of the damage and the disconnect between the supporters and the board that were just there before Steve Clarke went in. Obviously Billy Bowie came in, and there was a lot of good work that went on behind the scenes, but I felt there was a club in disarray and they needed a manager to come in and almost insulate the football side of it. And Aberdeen are nowhere near as bad a position as Kilmarnock were at that point, and look what an experienced manager did at Kilmarnock. An unbelievable job Steve Clarke did. So it's just to re-emphasise for me the importance of getting in a manager with experience who's able to block out a lot of the noise that's going on around the club, because there's a lot of noise because it's a big club, Aberdeen, and it's not going particularly well. If you're able to block that out, get the players focused on the park, once you start getting some results, it's incredible the momentum that can get picked up.
Michael, you think that's the way they would go? That they would go down that route, an experienced manager with it. Jim had experience, Stephen Glass virtually none as a manager. But they need someone with a lot of matches under their belt.
Right, John Hughes, John, you said you've applied for the job. What do you think when you hear the guys talking about names like Malky Mackay, like Stephen Robinson?
I agree with him. I think that is. I think there's real good Scottish managers in the game, and I think that's what Aberdeen need. No matter who it is that gets it, I think they have to have that Scottish experience.
Someone that knows the Scottish game.
And I honestly think that for a club the size of Aberdeen, I would like to think that you've got on your CV that you've won one or two things. Because that's great experience. You know how to win. And the disappointments of football as well. So, all the guys that are getting mentioned, I agree with everything, and I'm all for Scottish managers and all that stuff. But as you say, going back to myself, I've just gone through the process, and hopefully I get the chance to talk to them.
Sorry, if I can just come in, would the chairman want that? He hasn't shown any signs. He came in. Derek McInnes was an experienced manager. He didn't last very long. Stephen Glass, rookie, and then Jim Goodwin, a little bit more experienced, but still young in terms of experience at this level. So there's going to have to be a sea change of thought at the very top. I don't know if it'll be the Football Monitoring Board or if it'll be the chairman, but I think the chairman has got to take the lead in this one.
He'll the biggest say.
Well, it's the exact same as Hibs. Hibs are the same. They've done so much good at that football club. It's unbelievable.
Yep.
But they put their hand up to say maybe recruitment and what they've brought into the club
Kenny,
is
I'm
just
sorry,
not
I'm
quite
sure you
good
can
enough.
hear the cheers that's sort of happening here at the ZLX Stadium. We have seen 2 red cards. One has been given to Darian McKinnon on Hamilton Accies coaching staff, and there's been a red card given directed somewhere to someone in the Dundee coaching staff as well. I'm not 100% sure. Nobody quite yet has actually walked down the tunnel despite being ordered. Don Robertson seems to have this sort of under control, but all just seems to be a little bit of nothing. Darian McKinnon certainly got in the face of Ben Williamson. I think he's a little bit unhappy. Ben Williamson just prior was sort of half appealing for a penalty. It certainly wasn't. It was just more a coming together. But McKinnon has certainly made his way down the tunnel, and
for a
we've seen that a
possible
few
red
times.
card.
Thanks, Amy. Yep, right, having a look at this.
Yeah, it's Edwards on Halliday, isn't it, Michael?
Yep.
Had
I
a
mean, it just looked
replay.
like a meaty tackle, but obviously the Hearts players were not happy, Andy Halliday in particular, and Nick Walsh has been asked to go over to the screen. He's now looking at it.
3-0. Stevie Kelly. Newbley brilliant again on the left-hand side. They get the deflection of the ball. Comes back
My goodness.
to Stevie Kelly. Volley right in the top bin. 3-0. Looks like game over already. Kilmarnock fans are leaving.
Unbelievable finish. Brilliant from Stephen Kelly. Excellent from Newbley. Far too soft from a Kilmarnock perspective.
That's a real contested tackle at Tynecastle, Michael.
Michael, it could go one of 2 ways, if I'm being honest. It depends.
It's a red card,
Yeah.
that's what's happening.
Right, so we're going to get a good look at this.
Right away, you could tell the reaction from Andy Halliday that he felt Edwards had tried to do him. He was bewildered that Nick Walsh didn't flash the red card straight away. When you look at the challenge back, it's full-blooded. It's a sore one. And it looks as if it's just caught Halliday just above the ankle, I would say. That's a lot of force. There's a lot of intent. He does play the ball, but I think, if I'm being honest, he knows what he's doing. Yogi, you might agree or disagree.
Yeah, as soon as you lead with the studs, and it looks like he's leading with the studs, the players know. And
it's probably similar to, in a sense, to the Ryan Jack one, Michael, which divides opinion from last week, where, you know, it's a straight leg, he comes with a lot of force.
Yeah,
and the point of contact, he catches Halliday on the outside of the ankle, and if Andy Halliday's foot is completely planted, he could come away with a real sore one.
Real sickener for United after a dream start. Stephen Fletcher giving the lead there in 9 minutes. Yeah, chance.
Kenny, big chance here from the corner kick. Clarkson curls it in. It's Matty Pollock that meets it at the back post. I think he should find the back of the net. He manages somehow to squeeze it by that far post. Big chance. First real big opportunity. Go to Aberdeen.
He just got caught underneath it.
Did he?
Yeah, just that little bit, and couldn't get the neck muscles around it just to get it on target.
Elgin City 0, Albion Rovers 1. Charlie Riley with a goal there. Annan back in front away at Bonnyrigg Rose. 2-1. Tommy Goss with his second of the game there. Partick Thistle behind at home to Cove. Rangers been a dreadful return for Paul Hartley, but Mitch Megginson has put them ahead there in the 27th minute. And just going through all the other scorelines, actually right up to that third goal confirmed. 29 minutes. Stephen Kelly, what a dream start for Livingston against Kilmarnock through there at Almond Vale. So
fantastic footballer, Stephen Kelly. I worked with him at Ross County.
Good player. You worked him at County, didn't you?
What a fantastic... Alan, see that goal he scored? I taught him that.
Just remember, I seen you when you played juvenile all the way through.
That's what Aberdeen fans could be looking forward to.
Because you were a big striker. Who was your big striker under Jim Jeffries at first? Who was it? Was it Berwick?
Berwick Rangers.
You were a striker, weren't you?
5 centre halves carried off the first 5 games.
And by the way, he's no joking.
Listen, I can absolutely imagine.
I remember Newton Grange one time. He was a young guy and he got sent off, and he was going to give me a lift home, and he waited on the guy and they got him sent off in the car park.
Michael, can I just come back to your game? I don't know if it's just in the occasions that I've looked at the screen, but it seemed to me like the approach from Dundee United was to make it a really physical game and get in the faces of the Hearts players. There was a couple of early challenges in Snodgrass, which I think a lot of teams have caught on to the fact that he's a playmaker and he makes Hearts tick when you allow him time and space.
Oh, that's magnificent from Livingston again. Really good play by Newbley. Finds Montano, crosses, cut out at the near post. Kilmarnock are all over the place.
Livy are on fire though.
Oh, brilliant. And you know what, Davy Martindale, the next step for him, he's been in a cup final. Could they win a cup over this period of time here? But Europe certainly could be on the agenda.
Yeah, what a job he's doing. Harry Souttar has scored on his debut for Leicester City. He's got them back in it against Aston Villa. Villa lead by 2-1 there. Kelty Hearts have gone 1-0 up at home to Falkirk. Callum Higginbottom on 32 minutes. Rory Loy, so far so good for County at Ibrox.
Yes, indeed, they're doing absolutely fine. Rangers have had a couple of chances in 25 minutes. Barisic's delivery 2 or 3 times has been nothing short of absolutely magnificent. He puts great balls into the box, and Morelos was on it in between the sticks for one of them, but couldn't direct his header on target. Cantwell, as I touched on earlier, chance just before that. Other than that, if Ross County are prepared to take a couple more risks, they might get some joy. Jordan White is winning everything against Ben Davies and Connor Goldson when it goes up to him. He just needs a little bit more bodies around him. But as for the defensive sense, Ross County look absolutely fine. Very, very impressed with Noah Kenny and Victor Luturi holding midfield. They've done very, very well. This new system that Rangers are trying hasn't really worked. Kent's now come out to the left-hand side. Cantwell's progressed further up the pitch into the number 10 position. It remains 0-0 and not an awful lot to speak of.
Good effort.
Yeah,
good effort from Ramadani. Yeah, Ramadani. Brilliant volley. Left foot just outside the box. The corner came in. It was nodded out. Ramadani hits it. Goes through a ruck of bodies. And Kelly's got to see it late. It goes down and gets a very good save. So Aberdeen beginning to turn the screw.
Chance for Hibs, Kenny. It's as close as they've came. It was a free kick just outside the box, maybe 20 yards out. Aidan McGeady went and he looked at the near post, maybe just half a foot or so over the top of the crossbar, but as close as we've come here in probably around 30 minutes or so. In fact, it's kind of died a death here in Paisley, so hopefully that ignites it and sets a wee fire in this game again.
Ryan Kent's got to shoot here, Leanne John. Watch the screen here. It's fantastic play. Cantwell pings it into Morelos. He touches it to Kent. And this is the frustrating thing about Ryan Kent. He's got to pull the trigger. 1, 2, 3, 4 fakes of the shot, and the end up the chance is gone. Pull the trigger. It was a fantastic opportunity in my book.
Yeah, and the thing about Ryan Kent, left foot, right foot, I'm just watching it now.
Got to get a shot away at some point there, no?
You've just eased him out a little bit.
He looks for the perfect moment, but you're never going to get that perfect moment. You need to make it happen.
Yeah, he just took that extra touch and got eased out of it.
Michael, I know you're struggling to hear us there at Timecast. I think you're back with us. Leanne, you were asking Michael a question about the game there.
Yeah, I thought physically Dundee United's game plan from the get-go was to make it a physical game and get in the faces of the Hearts players. I thought they locked on early to Robert Snodgrass, looked to stop him playing, and then that challenge comes in heavy on Halliday, but it looked to me like that was not to injure players but to really make it tough for Hearts to dictate the game today.
We've got Johnny Hayes down here. Sorry, we've got Johnny Hayes down here. He went up for a challenge. It's a head knock. He's getting some serious attention. You just hope that he's going to be okay. It was a rather nasty one. There was no malice in it whatsoever.
No, not at all.
A genuine challenge.
It's a cut eye, the blood. We can see the blood on it. Yeah, he's took one to the left eye and the blood.
A sore one,
yeah. A little bit of claret there.
Michael, the game plan, Dundee United.
Basically slow Hearts down, not to allow them to get any pace to the game. And the last couple of minutes they've just been able to get the ball down and play it a little bit quicker. In terms of physicality, I'm not 100% sure. I think just they're working very hard to close Hearts down, and it's the same end product of stopping Hearts playing. And it makes perfect sense, and so far it's been successful. The difficulty is obviously now down to 10 men. What their thoughts are going to be. Is it going to be the same? Trying to do that, it'll be difficult with 10 men, or whether they sit in a little bit more and then Hearts will get a little bit more time on the ball, but then they're going to have to try and break down a dogged defence.
In the Premiership, Aberdeen 0, Motherwell 0, Hearts 0, Dundee United 1. Fletcher with the goal on 9 minutes. Ryan Edwards sent off on 29. Livingston 3, Kilmarnock 0, Newbley, Anderson and Kelly. Rangers 0, Ross County 0, St Mirren 0, Hibs 0. In the Championship, Arbroath 1, Wraith Rovers 0, Hamilton Accies 1, Dundee 0, Inverness Carry Thistle 0, Morton 1, Partick Thistle 0, Cove Rangers 1. Into Scottish League 1, Airdrie 0, Clyde 0, Alloa 1, Peterhead 0, Dunfermline 0, Montrose 0, Kelty Hearts 1, Falkirk 0, Queen of the South 0, SC Edinburgh 0, and in League 2, Bonnyrigg Rose 1, Annan Athletic 2, East Fife 0, Stirling Albion 0, Elgin City 0, Albion Rovers 1, Forfar 0, Stranraer 0, Stennismuir 0, Dumbarton 0, and in the English Premier League, the lunchtime kick-off, Everton 1, Arsenal 0. Latest scores, Aston Villa 2, Leicester City 1, Brentford 0, Southampton 0, Brighton Luton 0, Bournemouth 0, Manchester United 1, Crystal Palace 0, and Wolves 2, Liverpool 0. What have you made of this Aberdeen performance, Willie? I did say before the game, I listened to Barry Robson during the week. He was quite bullish with the approach, felt the players gave him everything. How are they performing today?
Well, it was a good cross there from Motherwell into the heart of the Aberdeen defence. They're playing with the three at the back, the three centre backs. You know, McDonald, Pollock and Scales are in there. Didn't deal with that one particularly good, but how are they performing? Yeah, I mean, they're showing you know, decent enough fight and determination. In fact, both sets of players are doing that. It's lacking in quality. I think Aberdeen have had more quality movements than Motherwell, who, you know, I think if they went away without being defeated this afternoon, it looks as though they would be happy with that. But yeah, I mean, I think Barry Robson is quite a bullish manager. You know, last time he was an interim charge, they had the same kind of interviews as well. So he's getting enough out of his players.
Well,
I think Stevie Hamill is getting enough out of his players.
Well, that's an Aberdeen player down there. Another one down. It looked like there was a wee elbow. It looked like there was a wee elbow just come out there.
Well, he got booked, whoever it was.
Sean Gosh.
Sean, was it?
Sean Gosh, yeah.
Yeah, he got booked for it. To be perfectly honest, I didn't see if it was deliberate or not. There must have been some intent. You guys maybe got a better view on it. Do you think it was?
The two of them got to challenge for the header. Goss is up, as you would be, you know, using your arms to elevate. He catches Ramadani in the face, but you can understand at this point that Aberdeen will be frustrated because they've got a player in the sidelines for an elbow to the face, so there'll be a comparison straight away, really. I don't think it was the same type of incident, though.
No.
Alan Preston, just to say, Dundee United have dropped they've dropped him. They're basically playing 4-4-1 at the moment. Balls are getting thrown into the box. Hearts are, you know, dominating the ball and territory a lot more. And it looks as if it's a case of them just trying to hold on.
Yeah, take it away, mate.
Yeah, an equaliser for Dundee. Jordan McGee just managing to drift in at the back post almost and nod a little header into the bottom corner. It's been really rather simple. It's been a cracking game so far in Hamilton, and I do think Accies have been very deserved off their lead. Perhaps slightly more dominant possession Dundee have been, but they've not really troubled Ryan Fulton in the goal. But a really neat header to have them equal. So it's Hamilton Accies 1, Dundee 1.
Leicester City equalised away at Aston Villa. Iheanacho with the goal there on 41 minutes. Dunfermline 1-0 up now against Montrose. Reece Breen on 40 minutes in that game. Alan, you were saying the Kilmarnock fans, a lot of them leaving very, very early in that one.
Yeah, it's been a poor performance, but take nothing away from Livingston. They have been absolutely brilliant. Been rampant from the start of this game. Getting Nublen's a focal point. He's playing up with Anderson as well. Very, very good. And the flat back four are keeping Kilmarnock at bay. Not that Kilmarnock have been that much in it. Just as I say that, Armstrong's going to have a shot. It's going to go wide. Livingston have been brilliant. Kilmarnock have been woeful in this opening period. And Derek McInnes will be absolutely raging. His side's not turned up. And that away record just continues to haunt them, I would imagine.
Brentford 1, Southampton 0, Ben Mee in 41. Forfar 1, Stranraer 0, Sebastian Ross also in 41 minutes. Michael.
I've seen a replay of that tackle from Ryan Edwards.
Yep. Goal at Patondre. Luis Lopez, the Duke, has found the back of the net with a header. Johnny Hayes, he rose from that injury, took 2 corners. The second one, he gets a bit of possession, goes to the byline again and dikes it towards the back post. Duke all alone there, well above anybody else, to nod it into the back of the net to give Aberdeen a well-deserved lead.
Yeah, Dukes, he gets the finish, he'll get the credit, but it's all about Johnny Hayes and the work that he does, Willie, isn't it, down that right-hand side?
Absolutely.
Shifts the feet, shifts the ball and puts it into such a dangerous area. Perfect height on it. As you say, Duke rises well and nods it home. Big goal.
Just in time, I think, because I think he's done. I think Johnny Hayes is done. He's walking, really looking very shaky there on his feet. The referee is over. He can't. You've got to take him off. He's done his work. He's made the goal. Get him off and get him lie down in a dark room, for goodness sake.
Almost 4-0 here at Livy. Bruce Anderson, lovely touch out the sky. Shot the right foot, deflected into the side netting.
What a doing, come on again in there. What a big goal at Patondre.
Yeah. Well, you talk about shaky here. There was a ball straight from the goalkeeper, Birighitti. It went right over the top of the Hearts defence. It looked as if Toby Civic was going to deal with it. He missed it. And Stephen Fletcher pulled it out the sky. Xander Clark was off his line, tried to chip him, and he just put it past the post. I mean, terrible defending for a straight ball to go right over the top. And that would have been 2-0 right before half-time. It would have been a great end to the half for Dundee United. I was saying, I just watched the replay. I got a clip of that free kick, the sending off. I don't think anybody can call it naughty, bad, premeditated or anything. It's just a tackle that you can't commit nowadays. He wins the ball, he follows through and he catches him a little bit. It's not naughty, it's a straightforward tackle.
Michael, do you think it was the speed of the tackle that maybe have made the referee's mind up?
It's just the fact that he caught him with his boot at the end of it. But I don't think there was anything malicious about it.
Catches him high though.
But it's no malicious. He just catches him after he's kicked the ball, that's all.
I know, but could he have stopped himself from following through with such force? You don't think so?
No, I don't think so, no. It's just a tackle you can't commit nowadays, that's it.
I agree with that, Michael.
Real problems, you'd have to say, for Stevie Hamill, the Motherwell manager. Hadn't won in their last 10 before today's game. Behind now, Duke with the goal there for the Dons on 42 minutes. What's happening in Paisley? Stuart Kettlewell?
Johnny Hayes is off, by the way, Kenny.
Yes, thanks, Willie. Thank you, yeah. Did look at a bad one there. He's getting a big reception.
Kenny,
around the pitch.
see, just on that, when are football going to really get serious about head injuries? Because
we saw one, was it early in the season, Porteous, do you remember? He went down, was he in for a challenge, did he score? I can't remember. And he was down and he came back on.
And when we talk about statistics and dementia and Alzheimer's and all the studies that are going on, it's with that injury, the percentages of it worsening and the brain injury becoming more significant is when you go back and play too soon.
You need to come up with a concussion
surely there has
subs.
to,
You have to have
and even if it's temporary, John, Johnny Hayes should have been taken off the pitch straight away and allowed to be.
I was watching the physio and he was doing all the procedure, all that stuff. I'm sure they says we'll give you 5 minutes. You can take them off and do that.
Exactly. And I'm not just using Aberdeen's example just now because it's just happened. Aberdeen today do not want to lose Johnny Hayes from that game. I understand that because he's a big player and they're in a tough spot. But player welfare must come first. Yeah. His head was gushing of blood. He was sparkled in the grass. He's back up and he's forced to go and sprint 100% in the game. Possibly end up in another challenge. He's then part of that moment that he creates a goal, and within minutes he's dazed and out of the game. It's not good enough.
It's a great point, Lam. We'll put that to Barry Robson post-match on SportsZone. Alan?
Nah, Bruce Anderson.
There's a chance for Dundee United. Oh, it's off the post. And they're also claiming for a penalty. Peter Pollitt had a strike. I think it was Kyle Olds that made the block.
Livingston.
And then it ricocheted for Glenn Middleton, who smashed it off the post at the back area. Stays 1-0.
Right, we're going to try and get another look at that one. Half-time scoreline: Queen of the South 0, SC Edinburgh 0, Alloa 1, Peterhead 0, Arbroath 1, Wraith Rovers 0. These are half-time scorelines as we draw to our close. I mean, what a performance from Ross County. Look very, very organised, Rory.
Yeah, they do indeed. And they have at times been a threat going the other way. They need more bodies forward, as I said. Another brilliant delivery from Barisic a second ago, with Tillman arriving on the end of it. It went just wide, probably not close enough to come in and interrupt the flow of the conversation, but still a fantastic header, which went just wide. And any joy Rangers have had came from the wide areas, because they're a number heavy in the middle of the pitch. Sakala's getting a bit of joy when he does pull out wide. But I have to say, Ross County quite deservedly on level terms. Rangers have played in fits and starts at times. Tillman had a good run forward a second ago where he played in Morelos. His shot was blocked, but they've been resolute, they've been organised, and they've performed well so far, Ross County. They just are not going to be able to keep this up for 90 minutes, so they will need to use their bench at some point.
Half-time in Inverness, Kelly Thistle 0, Greenock Morton 1.
Thanks to Ailey Airdrie 0, Clyde 0, half-time scoreline: Elgin City 0, Albion Rovers 1. Hibs still the better team in Paisley, Stuart?
No, they're not, Kenny. In the last 10 minutes or so, you'd have to say St Mirren have come right into it. A couple of decent efforts from Curtis Main, but they're starting to throw balls into the box. They're starting to test that back line of Hibs. So yeah, it's been a good spell for them. We're into 3 minutes injury time, of which I think we've got maybe 2 minutes of that left, Kenny. So the half-time whistle probably not coming at the right time for St Mirren.
Who was it come on, Stuart? The substitute come on for McCurdy?
It was a new player, John. It was a new player, Matty Hawk.
Come on. Ibrox! Just as I was saying, Ross County deserved to go into the interval. All square. Rangers take the lead. It's brilliant from Cantwell. He stretches in the edge of the box, just gets past his man, clips it into the box, and Malik Tillman, the substitute, is there to head home. Rangers 1, Ross County 0.
Yeah, it's a good goal.
We just had a bizarre one at Tynecastle where Nick Walsh gave a free kick and it was right out on the touchline, and it was where the player had actually crossed the ball. There was a handball near the edge of the box, and he gave the free kick where the guy had played the cross from and not where the handball was. I don't know if you get a replay of it. It was bizarre.
I've not seen it, Michael.
Stennismuir 0, Dumbarton 1, Ali Love just ahead of the break there. Aston Villa 2, Leicester City 3. That's now a half-time scoreline, and that goal from Malik Tillman right on the stroke of half-time there at Ibrox. Really tough on Malcolm Mackay's side, but great play by Cantwell.
It is. Cantwell does really well. He's overstretching to get that initial touch, but I think it was Sakala. Rory, correct me if I'm wrong. He also makes a run right in towards goal, and he takes a couple of defenders with him, and that just gives Tillman just that bit of space to go and make his run, make his move, and head the ball home.
He's been excellent under Michael Beale, Tillman, I must say. Not so much, we all know the ability he's got, but his work rate, his desire to work hard for the team and win the ball back has impressed me massively as he takes the ball in the half turn here. A lovely touch again and finds Sakala. Oh, just wide after a deflection off Keith Watson, I think it was. He goes out for a corner. Rangers turning the screw a bit now, but yeah, Tillman for me has been a different player under Michael Beale. Really rejuvenated.
Half-time in Paisley, Kenny, 0-0.
Half-time, Mackie's 1.
Thanks, guys.
Mackie's 1, Dundee 1.
Thank you. Stennismuir 0, Dumbarton 1. That's a half-time score line. Rangers just gone into the break. They're just waiting for the half-time whistle. But I mean, my goodness, what a performance in the first half. The first half performance so far of the day goes to Livingston. 3-0 up against Kilmarnock. Just waiting for the games to get to the half-time point. Just look at a corner there, Rory, at Ibrox.
Yeah, it's just came in and it's going all the way to the back post of Ryan Kent. He stands one up and Morelos over the bar. Goal kick, and it will be 1-0 at half. It's not quite half-time just yet, actually. Sorry, I thought he was blown for half-time, Ewan Anderson. Morelos again, just over the bar. Sorry, Billy.
No problem. Half-time at Pittodrie, Aberdeen 1, Motherwell 0.
And that is half-time at Ibrox. It's Rangers 1, Ross County 0.
Thanks, guys. Duke with the goal there on the 42nd minute for the Dons. Brighton 0, Bournemouth 0. That's a half-time scoreline. And as Amy was telling us, Hamilton 1, Dundee 1. A feisty game there, certainly between the benches in that one. But all square as they go into the break. So still playing, Michael, at Tynecastle.
Yeah, it's still 1-0 to Dundee United at the moment. They're holding the ball, they're working it pretty well, and got to say that Stephen Fletcher, here's Peter Pollitt, he's getting to the edge of the box. Oh, Levitt's playing it wide, Middleton into the ball, he's right foot and he hits it straight at Xander Clark. Dundee United, you've got to say, I think they're deserving of this first half lead, and Stephen Fletcher's played a perfect leading role at the top end of the park. 1-0 half time.
I was just going to say, Liam, just would be interesting to hear the reaction from the Hearts fans. I think we just heard it.
Yeah, they're not happy and they'll need to come out with a better performance in the second half. They've got the player advantage, of course, and that might start to tell as the time and the clock ticks down. But so far they're not at the races, and as Michael said, Dundee United, they dropped into that 4-4-1 shape, but in the last 5 minutes or so they look as if they're a bit braver and Fletcher's dragging them up the pitch.
Yeah, a difficult afternoon for Hearts, difficult week for Hearts after that thumping by Rangers midweek, and they are behind at Tynecastle. Stephen Fletcher with a goal there on 9 minutes. Ryan Edwards, though, sent off for United on 29 minutes. All the half-time reports to come right here in SportsZone on BBC Radio Scotland.
All the action
from all the biggest games.
This is SportsZone.
Oh, it's a goal!
From BBC Radio Scotland.
Another goal!
Right, let's get round the grounds on SportsZone. There was the option of online commentary from the game at Ibrox. Rangers against Ross County. Let's get to our match commentator, Alistair Lamont.
Well, Rangers were so good at Tynecastle on Wednesday. You expected them to really come out the blocks again here this afternoon, but it didn't happen. They were pretty average, you'd have to say, at the outset of the game, and Ross County themselves started pretty well. They had the first opportunity of the match. It fell to Eamon Brophy, had his chance blocked at the near post. Barisic had a shot just over shortly afterwards, and then Todd Cantwell skiffed the top of the crossbar after about 13 minutes. Rangers began to edge their way, began to dominate proceedings. 25 minutes in, Alfredo Morelos had a header just past the post, but they were really huffing and puffing for the most part.
until just before the interval. Tillman had a header just wide. He'd come on early on for the injured John Lundstrom, and then it was Malik Tillman himself who did get the goal, the breakthrough that Rangers craved in injury time at the end of the first half. Todd Cantwell got the ball across the 6-yard box, and there was Tillman with a diving header to beat Ross Laidlaw in the Ross County goal. And Derek Ferguson give Rangers a half-time lead. As I say, that just towards the end of that first half, you did feel like the goal was coming, but it's not been vintage from Rangers, certainly.
Absolutely not. Oh, they were slow out the box, and that forced change. Lundstrom going off, Tillman come on. He made the difference, absolutely. You know, he's been dictating things in the middle of the park. Some of his passing has been exquisite, but as the game wore on, he started to hit the box from deeper areas, and then the ball from Cantwell down that right-hand side, and Tillman with the head, absolutely brilliant goal. For me, he's been the man that's made the difference in this first half. County, yeah, defended extremely well, but Tillman, absolutely the difference.
Yeah, Ross County still well in the game, but you know, they haven't got a great record against Rangers. A draw in Dingwall in January 2022, the only time in the last 15 meetings they've taken a point off Rangers. They've got a bit of work to do in the second half. Rangers 1, Ross County 0.
Yeah, they certainly have. At least County do have more striking options as a result of their business in the window. Let's then get to Pittodrie. Aberdeen against Motherwell. There for us, Willie Miller.
Yeah, Kenny, at half time it's Aberdeen 1, Motherwell 0, and for the first 20 minutes this game had plenty of effort, but lacking in quality. But Aberdeen slowly began to control the ball, began to control possession, and they've had by far the better of the opportunities. The first one coming to Duke down the right hand side, showing that close control and quality he's got to take on players in tight situations. He got by the defender. He had a tight, narrow angle to make the shot. He pulled the trigger, but it was a very good save at the near post from Liam Kelly in goal. Pollock had a header from a set piece, and Aberdeen looking very, very dangerous at set pieces. Pollock's a big unit. He gets up. For me, I think he should be scoring. Just didn't get enough on it to direct it into the back of the net, and it slid by that far post. Ramadani had a magnificent effort with his left foot to the ball being sent out from another set piece. Aberdeen have had many of them in this first half, and he takes it on the volley. It goes through a lot of bodies, so very late for Kelly to see it, but he does react to it and gets his hand to it and puts it round the post. But in 42 minutes just before half time, if I take you back to maybe 40 minutes, Johnny Hayes gets a head knock. He goes down. There's a lot of attention required. The blood is coming out his head. He gets the okay to continue. He gets up, he goes to the other end of the pitch, he takes the corner, the ball comes back to him, and then he shows magnificent contribution towards taking on the defender, going to the byline. Not just that, has the quality, and that's what this game has been sadly lacking, the quality just to dink the cross to the back post, where Louis Lopez, a.k.a. Duke, is lingering. He gets up above everyone and he nods it into the back of the net. They go and celebrate. Johnny Hayes goes to the ground. He's taken off. He is substituted, but he's done his job in Aberdeen. That is why Aberdeen are leading here at half-time 1-0.
Thanks to Willie Miller. Looking at the live table, Motherwell are currently bottom. Let's then get to Tynecastle. Hearts against Dundee United and Michael Stewart.
Well, it's the Wayside that going at half-time 1-0 up, and deservedly so. They've been able to close Hearts down, stifle them, slow their play, and they got themselves in front inside 10 minutes. Good bit of play down the left-hand side. Ilmari Niskanen got onto the ball, fired it across the face of the goal, and Stephen Fletcher nipped in front of the defenders, got a touch on it, and then from a tight angle was able to reverse it through Xander Clark's legs into the back of the net. And the next big moment of play was about half an hour mark when Ryan Edwards had put a tackle in on Andy Halliday. The game had played on, nothing was pulled up by Nick Walsh, the referee. But the next stoppage, the big screens came up with a possible red card for VAR. He was asked to go over to the screen, and looking at it again, he pulled out the red card and sent off the Dundee United captain. From that point on, Dundee United pretty much went into a bit of a defensive mode, 4-4-1, and soaked up a lot of pressure from Hearts, who territorially were able to get up the park, throw a few more balls into the box, but not really troubling Birighitti and the Dundee United goal. On the break, though, as the game came towards half-time, Dundee United have looked dangerous. Stephen Fletcher's looked pretty good at the top end, holding the play up, getting the team up the park, and they were able to get another moment where it looked as if they could have got their noses in front. They hit the post when the ball came right across the face of goal. Peter Pollitt had a strike. They were claiming for a handball, but it deflected to Glenn Middleton, who at the back post was able to get his strike off, but he just hit the woodwork, and the game is 1-0 here at half-time to the visitors.
Thanks to Michael Stewart. Let's then get to Paisley St Mirren against Hibs and Stuart Kettlewell.
Yeah, thanks Kenny. It's level here in Paisley. We had a really bright opening. Hibs were the better side in that first part of the first half. First chance came in 9 minutes. Good combination play between Harry McCurdy and Ellie Ewan. Found Ewan in space inside the penalty box on the right hand side, and it was a low driven effort, well saved by Trevor Carson in the St Mirren goal. Moments after, we had another opportunity. Josh Campbell, his strike was well blocked round about the 6-yard box, but in 18 minutes a kind of sore point for Hibernian. Harry McCurdy caught his studs in the turf and looks to have dealt himself a pretty bad injury. He was replaced by new signing Matty Hopp. Hibs had another effort. It was a free kick from 20 yards. Aidan McGeady went narrowly over the crossbar in that instance, but with 10 minutes to play in the half, St Mirren came to life. Couple of chances, both falling to Curtis Main. The first one the better of the two. In actual fact, an effort with his left foot, again high, heading towards the top corner, well saved by David Marshall. And then in 37 minutes, Aidan McGeady had some loose play in the middle of the park, presented Main with the ball, and he had a free effort at goal from about 18 yards. Should have done much better, but blazed the ball top of the bar. The conditions have played some part in this game. It seems to have settled down a little bit now, Kenny. It's 0-0 here between St Mirren and Hibs, and we're expecting a wee bit more action in the second half.
Thanks to Stuart. No shortage of goals at Almond Vale. Alan Preston, Livingston up against Kilmarnock.
They've been brilliant. They're 3-0 up at half time, Kenny, and honestly, Fitzwater had a header well saved by Walker in 4 minutes. Newbley then had a shot saved also by Walker in 10, but they then took the lead in 11. It was a cross on the right hand side. Walker dives on the ground, the ball flips up, and there's Newbley from 5 yards away knocking the ball in the back of the net. 2 minutes later it was 2-0. Devlin cross, Anderson with a brilliant volley on his right foot across the keeper into the bottom corner. 3-0 in 30 minutes. Again Newbley was involved. His cross found Stevie Kelly, who from about 15 yards volleyed it into the top corner. 3-0. Kilmarnock's only effort was a Vassell shot just wide. Anderson also hit the side net. Livingston have been brilliant. Kilmarnock really disappointing. Half-time score, Livingston 3, Kilmarnock 0.
So that's you got all the half-time reports from the 5 games in the top flight this afternoon. It's time now for a choice of listening. It's the rugby. You're after all the build-up to England against Scotland, and the Six Nations live from Twickenham is about to get underway on Radio Scotland Extra, online, digital and 810 medium wave. We are staying with the football here on BBC Radio Scotland. It's been a busy afternoon. Some surprise scorelines, I think it's fair to say. Certainly the one at Tynecastle as things stand. United 1 up, but down to 10 men. Let's then dip into the Championship. Let's get to Amy Canavan. Amy, you've been watching Hamilton Accies against Dundee.
I certainly have, Kenny, and it's half-time at the ZLX Stadium. Hamilton Accies 1, Dundee 1. Connor Smith's blistering 25-yard plus strike fired Accies into a cracking lead inside the opening 5 minutes. A sensational finish from the on-loan Hearts midfielder. I know many at the Jambos say that he has that in his locker. Awful conditions here. A swirling wind is certainly disrupting play, but a ferocious affair with both benches seeing red, as I mentioned earlier. Still not quite too sure who did get it for Dundee. They showing, though, why they are very much in the title race, Dundee, getting back on level terms with about 38 minutes on the clock, even when they're not playing at their best. Jordan McGee nodding in from Sam Fisher's cross. It's been a cracking game so far, and it does remain Accies 1, Dundee 1. Happy Birthday has been playing over the town now for the last 5 minutes or so. God knows whose birthday it is. It's not mine, but they're certainly enjoying the tune anyway.
Yes, it was a good game there, quite fiery as well. Thanks to Amy Canavan. Let's then get to Inverness Cally Thistle against Morton and Ailey Davis.
Yeah, thanks very much. At half-time, it's Inverness Cally Thistle 0, Greenock Morton 1. So the visitors with the advantage, just edging it. It was the best possible start for Dougie Imrie's side. Calvin Miller breaking the deadlock on 5 minutes. He was straight onto a loose pass from Zach Delaney, 20 yards out and firing into the bottom corner. He had a very good save as well. He forced a save from Inverness keeper Mark Ridgers. 20 minutes later, a lovely powerful shot from inside the box. Callum Waters 2 for the visitors, an effort on the volley, that going just wide. The home side, though, they have had chances, but just not clinical enough in front of goal. Delaney, he had an effort from 20 yards. That was just wide of the post. Aaron Doran, he looked to be one-on-one with the keeper, Brian Schweik, but he somehow got the ball caught under his feet and the chance was gone. And it was very similar to a chance that he had on Tuesday night here in that Scottish Cup game against Queen's Park. Really almost exactly the same, and the ball again caught under his feet and the opportunity gone. So as it stands, Inverness Kelly Thistle 0, Greenock Morton 1.
Thanks to Ailey. There's our choice of listening once again on SportsZone. Commentary of Rangers against Ross County is available online only at bbc.co.uk/Sports Scotland. It is open all nights. You want, stick with us here on BBC Radio Scotland, on digital, BBC Radio Scotland Extra, BBC Sounds, 92 to 95 FM and 810 medium wave.
All the grounds, all the goals, all the news.
This is Open All Mics from SportsZone.
From BBC Radio Scotland.
Welcome to Open All Mics, and a goal already in the second half, Alan Preston.
Yeah, maybe this game isn't over. Christian Doidge, I think it was, up the far end. It was a real stramash up there. Keeper made a good save at one point. The ball comes back to Christian Doidge then. If you can have a look at that and let me know. Looked like him.
Yeah, it's Doidge. I think it's
bundled it over. There was a check, but the goal's been given.
Vassell, I think, keeps it alive. Alan heads it back across goal, and you're right, it's Doidge that was in the right place to bundle it over the line and hand Kelly that lifeline.
Yes, I'll just run through all the score lines for you. In the top flight, Aberdeen 1, Motherwell 0, Hearts 0, Dundee United 1. It's now Livingston 3, Kilmarnock 1, Rangers 1, Ross County 0, St Mirren 0, Hibs 0. In the Championship, Arbroath 1, Wraith Rovers 0, Hamilton Accies 1, Dundee 1, Inverness 0, Morton 1, Partick Thistle 0, Cove Rangers 1. In League 1, Airdrie 0, Clyde 0, Alloa 1, Peterhead 0, Dunfermline 1, Montrose 0, Kelty Hearts 1, Falkirk 0 and Queen of the South 0, FC Edinburgh 0. In League 2, Bonnyrigg Rose 1 and in 2, Stirling are just going to go up away at East Fife. Elgin City 0, Albion Rovers 1, Forfar 1, Stranraer 0 and Stenhousemuir 0, Dumbarton 1. So a big second half ahead, Michael Stewart, for these home players at Tynecastle.
Yeah, it is a big second half. They've definitely, it looks as if they're a little bit sort of, not leggy, but psychologically it looks as if something is lagging over from that midweek defeat, heavy defeat against Rangers.
Substitute Michael at half-time?
Well, Stephen Humphreys, it looks like, is just running onto the park here just now, and I'm just trying to see, is it Alan Forrest, it looks like, I think that is
Michael,
has gone off at half-time for Humphreys. Ginnelly will go on, and Hearts actually, just towards the end of the second half, had changed formation. They went to a back 4-4-2 effectively, and Ginnelly, who was playing up top, is going to go and play on the right-hand side where Alan Forrest was playing, and Humphreys is going to play right through the middle with Lawrence Shatland.
Greg Spence with that goal for Stirling Albion away at East Fife. They lead by 1-0. Back underway at Pittodrie Willie Miller. This is a huge second half for both sides. This could be 11 games without a win for Stevie Hamill. He'd come under huge pressure, the Motherwell manager.
Well, absolutely, and you know, if you go to the bottom of the table as well, then that just heaps the pressure on. They haven't looked like it in the first half, to be perfectly honest, Kenny. It's been Aberdeen that really have dominated the chances created. You know, 3 good opportunities before that goal went in, and it's going to have to be a huge turnaround for Stevie Hamill in the second half, because I don't think that they've shown enough, certainly going forward, and Aberdeen have basically after that first 20 minutes dominated the ball. So it is a crucial game for both clubs, no doubt about that. And at this moment in time, it looks as though Aberdeen are going to come out on top.
A goal from the English Championship. Ryan Porteous has scored for Watford. They're 2-0 up away at Reading. It's always great to see the Scottish guys go down there and make a good impression. So Ryan Porteous, what a start to his career at Watford. Let's get to Paisley again. I gave this one the big build-up one off the ball earlier, Stuart. I thought it was tending to be a very open game. I didn't promise goals, but is it an open game?
No, you gave it the kiss of death, Kenny. No, to be honest, we had a little bit in the early part of the first half from Hibs, and like I said to you, the last 10 minutes of the second half, so we'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but I can kind of see how it will pan out the second half. I think that St Mirren will throw a lot of balls into the penalty area of Hibs, and you imagine that Hibs will still try and get the ball down and see if they can play through that back five, as it seems, St Mirren. But so far, no opportunities second half. Kenny, we're just settling back into it 3 minutes into the second half.
Rory Loy's at Ibrox for us this afternoon. Real heartache for the away side, conceding just before the break there, Rory.
Yeah, it was. It was a sustained attack, and they just lost a bit of concentration for the first time. A bit of tiredness set in, and Rangers took advantage. However, they have freshened things up. It's 1 January signing on for another. Eamon Brophy goes off. Simon Murray comes on, and he started like a caged animal. He's come on and closed everything down and put the Rangers backline under a wee bit of pressure. So Ross County have come out the traps flying in the second half, and they'll be trying to feel their way back into the game, whilst being possibly a little bit cautious that Rangers could catch them at the other end. But we're not long underway here, just a kind of minute or two into the second half, and it's still Rangers 1, Ross County 0.
County of the South 1, SC Edinburgh 0. Rudy Payton on 53 minutes. Airdrie 1, Clyde 0. Charlie Telfer on 49 minutes. Stuart, just want to back quickly to you. You covered the game for us in Dingwall on Tuesday night, and we heard on the evening and also in his midweek press conference strong comments from Lee Johnson, very unhappy that goal, the equaliser, was given. Have you had a chance to have another look?
I looked at it again, Kenny. Maybe I potentially described it slightly different than it actually played out. There is definitely contact from the two Ross County players, but I think when you hear Malky Mackay's comments after it, Kenny, I don't know how many more questions we would ask. You know, if the goalkeeper's coming off and saying I threw one in, then David Marshall, with his experience and his honesty, I think he knows himself he should do better in the situation. So I think it was a bit the right call from the official at the time, and I think the goalkeeper knows that he has to do better. And I think you called it at the time, didn't you? If we had the interviews in a different in a different order, then we might have had a slightly different outcome in terms of the content from the managers. But no, I think the referee got that one right, and I do feel, maybe being a bit old school again, but I do feel that the goalkeepers are overprotected in these situations. We as managers and coaches ask for the set play taker to throw it on top of the goalkeeper, and that's exactly what Jan Danda did, and it was a terrific delivery, wasn't it? It was a great delivery that asked a question of the goalkeeper, and he didn't come up with the answer.
Yeah, tremendous delivery.
Kenny, goalies are protected, there's no question about it, but that was a foul. Like, the two players, and David Marshall,
Michael, sorry to interrupt, is there a VAR check going on?
Well, there's none up on the screens, but
yeah,
the ball
I think
is
there
out
was.
for a
Sorry,
shy.
I think they were possibly checking a handball that came off the Humphreys strike. I'm not too sure who it was that was on the ground.
Snodgrass is breaking forward, he's on the edge of the box. Oh, he's dragged a shot wide of the post. Hearts have certainly started the second half brighter. I'm just looking at Dundee United players. Pollitt's just gone down, knocking the ground. I think he's going to have to go off frustration at getting injured there.
Kilmarnock want a penalty, Leanne. It's a shot from well out. Derek McInnes and Tony Docherty both appealed for it right in front of me.
Was it a possible handball, was it? I'll keep an eye out for it.
I don't think so. It's a shot from well away, not for me.
Stirling Albion down to 10 men. Cameron Clark on 53 minutes in that game. They are currently 1-0 up away at East Fife. Yeah, it was an interesting debate actually midweek, and what Stuart was referring to there was that Lee Johnson came out first, had an absolute blast, said it was a disgrace. 10 minutes later, Malky Mackay comes out and said David Marshall come off and said a 3-1 in for you there.
On that, Kenny, just going back to Big Marsh, I think he sets himself that such a high standard that even although he's been bumped, he still felt he should have punched it. And that's why he's so hard on himself.
They get way too much protection, Willie Miller, don't they, the goalkeepers? Come on, step in here, Willie.
Asking me? What are you asking
Come
me?
on.
Yeah. Well, they do. Obviously, they do.
Come on, Willie, when you were a ref, would you have gave the goal?
Well, I think you should be allowed to challenge the goalkeeper. I don't think there's any rules against it, is it? But the referees do seem to favour a goalkeeper. If, in fact, when he is challenged, he doesn't actually manage to hold on to it, then the opposition gets the advantage of him. So, you know, I think it is. I think they are protected too much, and I think it would be a better game if they weren't a protected species.
We've not been having a go at the rest today for unreal.
It's been very quiet. I mean,
nobody's mentioned the Nicky Clark one for last week. It was an absolute nonsense that got overturned.
Michael, substitute at Tynecastle, Paula off, he come on as a substitute. He's not happy going off. Did he pick up an injury?
Well, Michael was saying it was an injury. He said he's not looking happy.
Good hit, good save. Really good hit.
I was just talking about it. He fell to the ground and he was hitting the ground. He clearly got a knock and was injured, and he's gone off, and Arnaud Djoum has come on.
What are we seeing in the early stages of the second half at Ibrox, Rory Loy?
Not a lot, Kenny, to be honest. All the players in the midfield area, Rangers have a lot of the possession. They're not really causing Ross County problems. They're having to work hard, Ross County, to stop those problems happening, but they look, again, fairly organised. There really isn't much to report. But last time I said that, Rangers scored. So you never know. But I must say on the VAR as well, we've been very critical of VAR when it's went wrong and things. And taking in the game at Tynecastle on Wednesday, you must say that all the correct decisions in terms of the offsides, as you'd expect, because it's either off or it's on. But the linesman did put his flag up and got them correct. Overall, Kent, simulation, clearly you can't blame the referee for giving the penalty. I don't think, given where he was standing and how it looked at the time, he goes over, VAR does its job, Kent gets booked and the play goes on. So I thought it was a good night for VAR at Tynecastle on Wednesday night, so credit where it's due.
Yeah, it's important to say that, because we give it a lot of stick. I know, was it Michael who said there about the decision that was overturned, the Nicky Clark? But I mean, there were people on this programme last week who thought it was the right call.
Well, it was nonsense if they did.
Is it not a worry, Kenny? Is it not a worry that the guy VAR, it's a red card, so the VAR think it's a red card as well. They've had a look at it because they didn't ask Willie Collum to come over and have a look at it. And then the Ryan Jack one as well. I think the VAR have got that wrong as well.
But here's the thing as well, because
they thought it was a red card, and they asked for Willie Collum to come over and have a look at it, and he didn't. So the people sitting in the VAR studio have got 2 calls wrong, and they're getting about a million looks at it.
But the thing is here, Alan, that again, it is subjective, because you can get, we'll debate this and some will think, differently. For me, I don't think Nicky Clark's is ever a red card, ever.
No chance.
But I could accept Ryan Jack's being a red card. If you were to show anybody those 2 tackles that didn't know the outcome and said, look, one was given as a red and one was given as a yellow, there is no way on earth they would have done it round the way that the officials did it.
Do you know what's extremely frustrating, Michael, is that Crawford Allen...
You agree with me?
Probably.
Enough of that.
And Crawford Allen and the group of referees could look at that and do what they did with Tony Watt and put that in the category of we actually got that right because we disagree with the panel. There needs to be a bit more cohesion there, because that's what frustrated the line.
Is that a goal?
Goal in Inverness.
Yes, Elliot.
Yeah, 57 minutes gone. It's for the home side. It was Billy Mackay. It was a rebound shot, a really close range effort, able to net for the home side. And yeah, it's all square here in the Caledonian Stadium. It's Inverness, Cali Thistle 1, Greenock Morton 1.
He's a great striker, isn't he, Billy Mackay? Really, really sharp.
Unbelievable. When I was up there, I sold him to Wigan, in fact, from Inverness, great goal scorer. When I first went up, Kenny, I didn't realise after what foot he was. Natural left foot, right foot. He'd take his chances. All good strikers. He's one of them. When it falls left foot, it's getting hit. Don't have to take it back onto the right foot.
He's got Inverness Cali Thistle back on level terms against Morton. Calvin Miller with the opener for the away side in 5 minutes. Billy Mackay equalising on 57. Let's get back to Willie Miller. Any sign of a fight back from the away side there, Willie?
Well, yeah, I think they're putting enough into it to suggest that they're not out of it. I still think that Aberdeen are looking the more likely. It's become a more even game perhaps in the second half, where Aberdeen were dominating large parts of the first half. So, I think the signs are there that the game is not over yet, but they still don't have much of a threat up front in Motherwell. So, that would have to change, obviously, if they're going to break down. The Aberdeen defence is looking pretty solid with the 2 new players in Scales in there. McDonald and Pollard along with Scales are looking really solid as a back 3. So it's going to be a tough task for them. So the answer to your question, Van Veen is now on, of course, which he's done well against Aberdeen in the past and scored many important goals. So I think Stevie Hammell will be hoping they can do the same this second half.
Absolutely. So the latest scores across Scotland. Just one second, I'll just do the top flight scores. Aberdeen 1, Motherwell 0, Hearts 0, Dundee United 1, United down to 10 men. Livingston 3, Kilmarnock 1, a fight back from Derek McInnes's side. Rangers 1, Ross County 0, and St Mirren 0, Hibs 0.
Kenny, I was just going to say as well that with Nicky Clark getting that red card overturned, I'll guarantee you that you would have had officials looking at that, and because the red card had been given, they would find reasons why that was the correct call. Yeah, it's high, it's this, it's that. It's a lot of nonsense. It wasn't a red card. Thankfully, it has been overturned, but I'll absolutely guarantee you, bet my bottom dollar that you'll have officials would have been looking at that after the event, because the red card had been given, that they would have been saying,
and it was the same with
finding reasons why.
Same as the Tony Watt one, Michael. How can it be overturned and then they put it? And when we're getting the stats on, VAR, Scotland's 90% accurate or whatever the figures are, they just decide, well, the Tony Watt one was right. It's the same with this one. Who are they actually answering to?
Rory, there was every possible outcome in the Tony Watt one. That was the thing for me. I think it was no foul, red card, and then rescinded to a yellow card. Am I right in saying that? So you have every possible outcome.
That was the correct decision category for a red card.
Michael, even at your game today, Nick Walsh, I don't think even awarded a foul for the challenge on Andy Halliday, and then
I can understand why he didn't give a foul, because see, when you watch it in real play, in real time, it's a hard tackle. Doesn't look, and again I go back to it, it's not malicious, it's just a tackle that when you watch it in the replay, he follows through and catches him a little bit. You just can't get away with nowadays.
He said it's the wrong call. Is that what you're saying?
I told you that nowadays you can't, when you see that replay and you see where he catches him, you just can't get away with that nowadays. But in real time, it didn't look like a terrible tackle.
Is it not the excessive force though? I mean, I've had a little look at the replay, and to me, he gets the ball pretty cleanly, but it's that excessive force, that the follow through, that's the problem nowadays, and that's why the card has come out.
I know we use the word consistency all the time, but if that is a red card, how on earth was Ryan Jack's not a red card last week? I mean, Ryan Jack gets nowhere near the ball. Edwards wins the ball and then catches the man. If that's a red card, fine. But Ryan Jack's has to be a red card as well. Has to be.
And by the way, Rory, see this debate about, and folk have said, it's low. That is an utter pile of rubbish as well. Just because it's low doesn't mean anything. You could break somebody's foot. Is that all right? You could break the foot, but if it's a couple of millimetres higher, that's a lot worse. A broken leg is worse than a broken foot. You can still break somebody with excessive force if you go low.
Yeah, I know, I agree. And the Edwards challenge can be described as a tackle. Ryan Jack's wasn't a tackle. It was a completely mistimed, ill-judged, angry decision. And he should have went for it. And it baffles me how they can send Edwards off and not send Jack off. It's just baffling.
What was refreshing last night was Howard Webb. If you watched the Chelsea game, the head of refereeing in England, he was on answering questions about specific. I know they come on and say we can't speak about specific things. He came on and spoke about specific things. He was asked by Gary Neville about the Rashford goal or the Man United goal against Man City, Rashford, and he said that's a mistake. If that happens tonight in this Chelsea game, that should be flagged for offside.
Well, we've asked to have a debate on SportsZone, what Ian Maxwell, what Crawford Allen. It didn't happen a couple of weeks ago. We will ask again. We want to have that debate in the programme. We want to understand why these decisions have been reached, the teething problems. We knew there'd be teething problems. That's understandable. So we'll have a debate on this.
Sorry, Kenny, that is just it. We're not asking them to give an opinion on whether it was right or wrong or anything. We're simply asking what rule stipulates that was a sending off or a handball.
Well, we tried to explain that in the Verdict programme. That's available on a Monday morning. Richard Foster and Stuart Dougal try and work their way through these decisions. They certainly disagreed on some of these calls at Ibrox last week. Dunfermline now 2-0 up at home to Montrose. Craig Whiten with a goal there. Any sign of a further fight back from the wayside at Ammanvale, Alan?
Kilmarnock have got a lot better in the second half, that's for sure. Yeah, they've had a couple of chances. Livingston equally have had a couple. Fitzwater had a shot well saved. But Kilmarnock have got better. They need to get a goal and they need to get it quickly. That's a free kick. And that's a free kick to Livingston at the edge of the box. Well, wide on the right, but
that's just an opinion though, Alan, come on.
Well, it's been given, Willie, so it's a correct opinion.
Well done. Good shout.
Stuart, anything close to a goal in Paisley.
Don't ask me about this game, Kenny. I'm enjoying the debate.
Stuart, I noticed McGeady, the substitute McGeady's been taken off.
That's the only thing really to say, John. Yeah, McGeady's come off, and it looks as if, just by the nature of the game, it is difficult conditions. It looks as if they've went for a wee bit more physicality, a wee bit more legs, and Chris Cadden's replaced Aidan McGeady down this right-hand side for Hibs. But other than that, very evenly matched teams, Kenny. Not a great deal between them, not a great deal of quality. And we're just waiting for this one to try and catch fire, and hopefully we get some goal-mouth action.
Manchester United 2, Crystal Palace 0. Marcus Rashford on 62 minutes. We heard, Michael, as you'd expect, very strong booing from the home fans here at Tynecastle on the back, obviously, of that performance midweek as well. What have we seen from the home side in the second half?
Excuse me. Well, they've huffed and puffed a little bit in the second half. It's better, but they're still lacking that cutting edge. They've not really been able to open up Dundee United and get some chances on the goal of Birighitti. He's been underworked this afternoon, hence why there's a level of frustration from the support. Andy Halliday went off a few minutes ago and George Grant's come on, but yeah, Hearts are trying to probe, but they're not able to cut open this dogged, well defended Dundee United side. Just as I'm watching this here, Hearts are trying to get forward again, but ball's out for a shy on the near side. They're going to have to do better. They have to speed the game up, and they've got to be a lot more clinical in this final third.
East Fife have equalised against 10-man Stirling Albion. Jack Healy on 66 minutes. That's one apiece in that one there. So let's get to Ibrox Road. I mean, Malky Mackay obviously gutted to lose that one just before the break, but he'll surely be relatively happy, perhaps take a few more chances in the closing stages if it remains at the scoreline.
Yeah, I mean, you'd like to think so. The front two are threatening to press at times, and then they're not getting that back up from the midfield because they're slightly concerned that they're going to be out of position. So they will need to do something at some point. Glenn Kamara's just come on for Sakala. Sakala's found a lot of space and room at times, but to be honest, lacked finesse or guile to try and cut Ross County open. And I think that Michael Beale will be hoping that Glenn Kamara can bring that to the party. A little bit of composure, pick a pass, and see what it gets them. As Ross County can ball, good save. It was.
Majowski's got to score. He does. Magnificent play from Aberdeen. Ramadani, brilliant down the right-hand side. Slide rail pass to Majowski. Goalkeeper to beat. Left foot, dinks it over him. Finds the back of the net. 2-0 Dons.
Ramadani does really well, Willie, as you describe. I'm just wondering defensively what Motherwell are thinking. I think it's Stephen O'Donnell that finds himself the deepest player. Majowski goes to peel off him, and for some reason O'Donnell's more worried about the space rather than the player that's peeling off. And he opens up the channel for the ball to be fed through to Majowski, and he's not going to miss from there.
As you say, well, it's sublime. We're just watching it again. It's just so composed. Takes his touch. Dink. What a finish.
Great to hear my pal a wee bit chipper again after months of doom and gloom.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you.
It's early yet. Still got 25 minutes here, Alan. You never know. Confidence must be low. I'm just wondering, we've spoken a lot about the managerial position. I know you'd think it'd be the right call to go with an experienced manager, Barry Robson, but do you think if they do take the time appointing and he gets 3 or 4 weeks, he'd have a chance? The problem is his next game, away at Celtic, home to Livy, away to United, at home to Hearts. You know, do you think he's in with a chance at all?
Well, I think if they leave it long enough, if they give him the opportunity to show, but I don't think you can make, or you should make that decision in a couple of games. And remember, their form at home has been pretty decent. Jim Goodwin's form at home was pretty decent. It's not these games that have been the issue.
It's a great ball. What the header that is, Jordan White. It's a well-worked corner, I must say. Really well-worked corner. Yandanda plays it short to Kenna. He gives him it back again, and it's a wonderful ball into the box. Right into the heart of the box, between the sticks. I told you, Jordan White had the beat of these two centre-backs. He rises above everyone, nods it into the net. John McLaughlin in no man's land. It's Rangers 1, Ross County 1.
Yeah, it's brilliant header from White, Rory, as you described. He wants it more. He rises tallest. He does so well to direct it towards the opposite corner. He just waits. He bides his time.
All afternoon, Leon.
Connor Goldson gives him a yard and a half, but he cannot give Jordan White that inside the box. Not when the quality, the delivery is as good as that. It's whipped in right across the 6-yard line.
Do you know as well, Leanne, I was wondering what on earth are they doing? They took a short corner just before it, okay? And it came to nothing. I'm thinking, just get it in, but credit to them, they did it again. What I will say is, there was a lot of contention over the corner being given in the first place. It did look like it came back off Yandanda. That'll be an interesting one.
I'll tell you right now why managers need to stop saying as much as they do right now. Michael Beale justified having John McLaughlin in his side because he says he's better at coming for cross balls. Watch SportsZone tonight and watch John McLaughlin coming for a cross ball.
I was looking to see if he got blocked actually, and Goldston blocked him, but no, it was to big Jordan White just up at its highest point and gets there first, and a great goalkeeper.
Leanne,
no man's land.
Park.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I know. I don't understand.
Was in no man's land when Kelly went 1-0 up as well.
Yeah.
You know, look, when you get results and you're winning, you can get away with doing things, and that has been to a large extent what's been happening with Michael Beale in his time at Rangers. But nobody is going to suggest that switching your goalkeepers as often as Rangers have been doing is what you would be looking to do. It's far from it.
And I also think a comment like that immediately puts pressure on the player, because everybody's going to go, oh, is John McLaughlin that good at coming for crosses? Let's see. Every time a cross comes in or the ball gets put into the box, we look at it, we scrutinise it, and it's clear to see that there's probably not too much between him and Alan McGregor when it comes to that.
Kenny, I don't want to put you under any pressure here, but have you got any stats on Jordan White's goal-scoring record against the Old Firm over the last 2 years? I think his numbers against Rangers and Celtic are incredible for Ross County, they're not?
We can look at that up, because actually he was obviously linked with the move away in the window, wasn't he? And he's a regular goal scorer.
He scored when we played Celtic up there the night Neil Lennon got lost his job. Jordan White got 1-0. He got a goal header. So the same kind of goals. He's fantastic in the air.
What's he like? What's he like?
Majowski again. Wonderful play from Aberdeen down the left-hand side. This time Coulson and Clarkson combining. Lovely little pass in behind the static Motherwell defence. Majowski, intelligent striker as he is, just nips in and just taps it into the back of the net. Wonderful goal. Are you listening, Preston?
I am. Well, you'll be able to get yourself a wee fish up of the night, my pal.
I'm into that.
Do you know what,
Willie?
Willie, I'm just wondering, given the drama we had in the programme last week, it was absolutely incredible to be part of it. What on earth will Jim Goodwin be thinking when he hears this today, this performance of some of these players that let him down?
Well, obviously he'll be gutted the fact that they're turning it on, but Kenny, I've said before, they have turned it on. This season, under Jim Goodwin at Pittodrie, they've had some wonderful victories here, some great wins at Pittodrie. You're talking 4-1 St Mirren, you're talking 3-1 against Hibs. Alan Preston, 2-0 against Alan Preston's team. You know, they beat Motherwell here as well. They beat Hibs 4-1 here.
They lost to Darvel.
Yeah, I know, but my point is, at Pittodrie, largely it's been exciting and they've been scoring goals and it's been excellent football to watch. So this isn't where you judge the manager. This isn't where Aberdeen will be judged. It'll be the away games that they'll be judged. If they can get the away form right, then I think they've got a chance of, slowly moving back up the league. But it's been a great performance today. Some wonderful goals. So the excitement is back for the Aberdeen fans here. It's certainly back in my book. So let me enjoy the afternoon.
Well, it didn't have to try hard. The defending on that cross coming in was diabolical. He's standing alone. There you go. Comes in. Go and do what you want to do. Put it in the back of the net. Don't know where the Motherwell defenders were.
Right, Raith Rovers equalised away at Arbroath. Scott Brown on 70 minutes. Forfar 2-0 up now at home to St Rars. Stephen McCluskey on 73. Artificial, a goal down now, a man down. Brian Graham sent off on 70 minutes. Cove Rangers ahead in that game. Elgin City have equalised at home. Russell Dingwall on 73 minutes from the penalty spot. Aberdeen, we got that from Willie. Wolves are now 3-0 up on Liverpool. Ruben Neves with the latest goal there, and there was another red card. Casemiro sent off for Manchester United. They are currently ahead against Crystal Palace.
I think there's a VAR check going on, Willie, at your game, a possible handball from Matty Kennedy.
Castle. And you guess who it is? Shanklin, back of the net. He turns to silence the Dundee United fans. I'm not sure anybody will be complaining about that one, though. The ball came into the box. He chested it down. Maybe you guys will be able to tell me who the defender was, but it was pretty poor because he was held off very easily by Shankland. Chested it down with his left foot. I'm not 100% sure whether it goes straight in or whether there's a wee deflection with his left foot. He fires into the bottom corner and he gets Hearts level, 1-1.
Yeah, Leanne, there is. He's got to have a look at it.
I'll tell you what, the thing is, Matty Kennedy, it'll be interesting because I've not seen it close enough to see where the point of contact is in his arm, but his arm is completely outstretched. Now, whether it's come off the shoulder, I don't know how the referee, Kevin Clancy, will view it when he goes over here to have a look at it, will he? But certainly his arm is in a completely unnatural position. It moves towards the ball, but it's whether it hits his shoulder or not will be the point of contact. We'll see it. Good goal for Lauren Shankland, though, Michael. Good ball into the area, and it's just a touch.
Checked, possible offside.
Yeah.
So you guys get a look at it. We might get
a better look at it. Yeah, keeping across the screens as we speak.
Quite a long delay, didn't it?
It did, because I was just thinking when the goal scored, by the time it goes back to the the centre
penalty
spot,
will be at Pataudry, almost certain.
Yeah, he's taking his time looking at it.
We've got a still image. It hits the bicep, I would say, of Matty Kennedy, and his arm, as I say, is completely outstretched, moving towards the ball.
Why is he taking so long? It's Kevin Clancy down there. He's looking.
Because it's VAR, Willie, and it's Scottish football.
Yeah, okay, he's looking. He's made a decision. He's a boxer. He's pointed to the penalty. It's a penalty. Yeah. Absolutely correct, Leanne. Well done. Penalty to Motherwell.
Yeah, Leanne called that. Wraith Rovers have gone ahead away to Arbroath. Conor McBride on 77 minutes. Arbroath 1, Wraith Rovers 2.
And a booking.
Yeah,
this game's still not started.
Kennedy.
Still not seen it, Michael. I still the.
We're still looking at the offside.
Hurry, from when the ball is going into the back of the net to the ball getting back to the halfway line, and all this time now they're checking offside.
Michael, we can see pictures here. Lawrence Shankland's looking over at the bench. He's asking what's it for. Lee McCullough saying possible offside, and we're still waiting.
Offside when Lawrence has had the shot. That's for sure. So it must have been on the cross coming in.
Right, Kevin Van Veen, will it?
The referee's pointing to his ear again.
Right,
it's a goal.
Smacks the bar.
It's a goal.
He's got a card out. Pollock is booked for a little bit of to do, I think, after the penalty was given. But Van Veen stepping up to take this for Motherwell to get them back into the game. They've shown no signs whatsoever that they could do anything against Aberdeen. They've got this penalty, and it's up to Van Veen to put it into the back of the net to give them a lifeline. Van Veen, right foot, he does it, no danger. Sends the goalkeeper the wrong way into the back of the net. Aberdeen 3, Motherwell 1.
Rory, there's a chance here at Ibrox.
Yes, there was indeed. Barisic's got the ball, a lot of space on the left-hand side. He fooled everybody who assumed he was going to put it in the box. He cut it back to Kent perfectly. Kent swung with his left foot at it. I thought it was going to dip down into the far side net, but it just clipped the bottom of the bar. Rangers do now have a dangerous free kick right on the edge of the box. Looks perfect for Barisic as Simon Murray caught Conor Goldson on the edge of the box.
SC Edinburgh down to 10 men. Liam Fontaine in 80 minutes. Yes, sorry, Michael.
There's a few things about that. Eventually it's obviously offside isn't given and the goal's been allowed. We all think, we all agree, it takes far
it's so
too long.
harsh. It's 2-1 to Rangers, and it takes a massive deflection. Might even be off Jordan White. Barisic goes for one corner, it hits off the wall, goes in the other corner. I mean, how's your luck?
It's like slow motion.
Ross County do not deserve that, I must say. Big stroke of luck for Rangers. I don't even know if the goal probably will go down as Barisic's goal. It is Rangers 2, Ross County 1.
Goal for Hibs, Kenny. Eli Ewan, really good counter-attack and a wonderful pass from Ewan Henderson. Found the big striker, he managed to jink inside, and I think he almost toe-bashed it past Trevor Carson into the back of the net. St Mirren 0, Hibs 1.
Yeah, you've got it spot on. As I say, he's been very, he's been one of the signings. It's been very, very good. Can play a number in the wide areas up front or right throughout the middle, and he's got a goal in him, and absolutely delighted for him.
John, you couldn't prior to, by the way, the last couple of games, end product's what started to come.
Michael,
I don't think you could say before that he's been very good, because he's had
Michael, if you were in his team and playing him, you would be saying, come on, just give me the ball 2 seconds quicker. It's that way extra touch, that way extra step over, but I think he's starting to get that out of his game, and he's coming. Yeah, he's quick and he looks strong, and I think he's starting to come on to a right good game.
But he needed to bring this end product, because before this, he's not been good enough for me. But now, with the end product, oh! Hearts 2-1. By the way, very, very good goal. They worked it from the back all the way up, down the left-hand side. A lovely little interchange. I think it's Cochrane, Mackay, and then it gets reversed back into Cochrane's path. He steps onto it and he fires it between the defender's legs into the far corner, and he puts Hearts 2-1 up.
Yeah, as you say, Michael, good team goal. Just going back to its first goal as well, it was just a possible offside for Shankland initially as the ball came in, so took a bit of time, I guess, just for the team in the environment to get the lines on it and do what they do. But what a response from Hearts as well. When you get that first goal, you've always got a belief that you can go and get a second. You get the crowd back on side, and you can see with the celebrations, even with the management team and the coaching group in the dugout at Tynecastle, how much it means. They needed it.
Jordan Allen has equalised for Falkirk away at Kelty Hearts on 79 minutes, one apiece there. Confirmation just coming through of that goal. Alex Cochrane on 77 minutes. And just down south, Crystal Palace back in it against 10-man Manchester United. Jeffrey Swoop in 76, United 2, Crystal Palace 1.
Rory, I just want to ask you as well, in the modern day game with free kicks in that area, how many walls do you see now that just stand and they do not jump? If Jordan White stays planted, he probably doesn't redirect that header and Laidlaw collects it because he guesses and goes early.
Yeah, you're possibly right. I mean, it's just so harsh. I do understand what you're saying.
So many of them have the player in the ground is what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. Or they don't jump in case they go under the wall, when in reality, how many players will actually try that? But I mean, you couldn't have picked a better spot to deflect that into in terms of Rangers. I mean, it was just a huge slice of luck. But no, I hear what you're saying, Leanne. I mean, I'm surprised Kolak isn't on the pitch, to be honest. It's crying out for a striker who's, sharp in the box, he runs in behind players, getting the back 4 or 5, moving a Ross County. I'm really surprised I've not seen him yet. But as it goes as well, and you'll have noticed this, John, Leanne, as soon as Ross County score, their whole dynamic and mentality changes and they go back to sitting in, when they were actually getting more joy going for the game and getting us hold of the game, but not easy to do. Oh, it's a chance! Morelos, good save, he's got to score, but it's a good save by Ross Laidlaw. Good movement from Morelos, he hits it on the tongue, right at the goalkeeper, he finds a corner. It's 3-1, but it remains 2.
So the latest scores in the Premiership: Aberdeen 3, Motherwell 1, Hearts 2, Dundee United 1, Livingston 3, Kilmarnock 1, Rangers 2, Ross County 1, St Mirren 0, Hibs 1. In the Championship, it's Arbroath 1, Raith Rovers 2, Hamilton 1, Dundee 1, Inverness 1, Morton 1, Partick Thistle 0. They're down to 10 men. Cove Rangers 1. In Scottish League 1, it is Airdrie 1, Clyde 0, Alloa 1, Peterhead 0, Dunfermline 2, Montrose 0, Kelty Hearts 1, Falkirk 1, Queen of the South 1, FC Edinburgh 0, Edinburgh down to 10 men. And in League 2, Bonnyrigg Groves 1, Annan 2, East Fife 1, 10-man Stirling Albion 1, Elgin City 1, Albion Rovers 1, Forfar 2, Stranraer 0, Stennismuir 0, Dumbarton 1. And in England, the latest scores here: 1-0 the full-time, Everton beating Arsenal at lunchtime, Aston Villa 2, Leicester City 4, Brentford 3, Southampton 0, Brighton 0, Bournemouth 0, Manchester United 2, Crystal Palace 1, United down to 10 men, and Wolves 3, Liverpool 0. Alan Preston, I haven't heard from you for a while. Oh, yeah, take it away, Elliot.
Yes, the visitors again, they go in front for a second time here at the Caledonian Stadium. It was Robbie Muirhead this time on 80 minutes. He was one-on-one with Mark Richards. I think David Carson letting him get away, and there was no way he was going to be making a mistake from there. So it's Inverness, Cally, Thistle 1, Greenock Morton 2.
Michael, a booking at Tynecastle for someone in the dugout?
It must be for Matty Pollock. The new signing is the goal scorer. Oh no, it isn't. My exuberance has been dampened completely because of offside. So I just need to calm down and tell people it was a well-worked goal, but unfortunately the referee has pointed free kick or offside, not too sure, but it hasn't been given. So it's all calm again at Pittodrie.
You of all people should know, in football you should never get too high and you should never get too low. things can change really quickly.
No, he's been very low in the last few weeks, Leanne. Don't worry about that.
That's
Have
good
to cheer
advice.
him up.
I'm
Leanne,
not
that's
sure,
good advice. But
although I'm looking
sometimes-
at it and I would need to say I'm not entirely sure what's
Just
wrong
on
with
that,
it.
just on
unless
that, not
it's
getting
been
too
deemed
high.
Sometimes good advice is difficult to follow.
Well, it's not offside. I don't know if they've given a foul in the box.
Is it? I didn't see anything.
I don't
Yeah.
see too much wrong. They will check this.
Yeah. That's on.
Yeah.
Yeah, play on. Yeah, no goal.
Yeah, speaking of not getting too high, Willie, Celtic Park, that's the next game.
Yes.
He did ask for just to be allowed to enjoy today.
Exactly, yeah.
You're right,
The
we'll
moment.
give him that.
Let
We'll
me
give him
enjoy
that.
the moment.
Alan, what's happening to your game there at Almondvale?
Kilmarnock have got better, but still can't get that second goal to really put Livingston under pressure. Livingston's game management at the moment, Davies taking off Newbley and Anderson as two strikers. A bit more solid, brought Holt on in the park just to see through this game. The lead by 3-1. We're inside the final 10 minutes.
Stranraer pulled the goal back, now 4-2. Stranraer won. Craig Malcolm on 86 minutes in that game there. What about the game in Paisley? St Mirren disappointing this afternoon, Stuart?
Yeah, they have been considering this home record that stands, Kenny, but they're having a wee go. They're trying to push to try and get back into the game just now. They've rung the changes. Small and Offord have come on for Kilty and Tanza. And as I say, they're trying to throw crosses into the box. They're trying to play in that final third at Hibs, but so far not really working. David Marshall on the goal, and Hibs look relatively comfortable sitting at this 1-0 scoreline.
Half a chance there
Kenny,
for Ross County. A cross ball. Sorry, Michael. It comes in. Conor Randall picks it up. I think he's just too tired. He swings a leg at it and goes over the bar, but if he just lifts it, he's got a chance of maybe beating McLaughlin as Rangers prepare to make a treble sub. Raskin's going to come on for his debut. Scott Wright and Antonio Cholak will come on now.
Well, the two, we'll
I was
just go
just gonna
back
say
to the disallowed goal at Pittodrie, Pollock's goal.
Yeah.
It looked like the two of them, it was for pulling the jersey, but the two of them are at it.
Okay.
So, you know, it's a 50-50. Obviously, it's went in the favour of Motherwell, but, you know, it could easily have been a goal.
Yeah, Aberdeen very much control. Yeah, Michael.
If Hibs managed to see that game at Paisley, that's a bigger win than the one at Easter Road against Aberdeen for me. I know it was a 6-0 drubbing, great performance, but as low as Aberdeen were, to go away to Paisley with the record that St Mirren have got at home and the difficulty playing against them, that's a bigger and more indicative result in terms of if you're trying to say Hibs are making progress than the 6-0 win at home. For me, it's a big win if they get that 3 points.
Yeah, Lee Johnson's been consistent with that message, Leanne. He said we are making progress. He knows where he wants to get to.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Goal Inverness.
On you go, Ailey.
Yeah, level pegging again here. The home side this time a bit of a mix-up at the back by Morton and letting Ethan Cairns in for the home side, a substitute not long on off the bench, and yeah, he was able to net. So back to all square here in the Highland capital. Inverness, Cali Thistle 2, Greenock Morton 2.
Ryan Kent, Alfredo Morelos and Cantwell are the ones to make way for Rangers. Josh Sims has just come on for Ross County.
So Cali Thistle level there against Morton. Ethan Cairns on 85 minutes. Partick Thistle are trailing by a goal to nil.
It sounded, Kenny, like there had been a goal at Partick Thistle there. I thought we just heard a score announced on the background. But
No, Inverness, Cali Thistle. It was Ailey's game there. I mean, the Partick Thistle really struggling actually. They're behind at home to Cove. Rangers have been dreadful of late, and down to 10 men. Brian Graham sent off. Megginson with a goal there early on for Cove Rangers. Inverness 2, Morton 2, Hamilton 1, Dundee 1, Arbroath 1, Wraith Rovers 2, and in League 1, Airdrie 1, Clyde 0, Alloa 1, Peterhead 0, Dunfermline 2, Montrose 0, Kelty Hearts 1, Falkirk 1, Queen of the South 1, FC Edinburgh 0.
6 added on minutes at Livingston, where Livingston lead by 3-1, and I would love to have a heart rate monitor on Davy Martindale. He gives it his lot week in and week out.
A lot of talk before the matches started, Kenny, about the bottom four and how much they're struggling, and not one of them is winning or even drawing at this point in time. So even more pressure mounts on the managers and the teams down the bottom end of the league.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Kilmarnock 23 points, Ross County 21 points, Motherwell and Dundee United both on 20. Looking at the live table this afternoon, Aberdeen edging their way towards the top 6 as things stand. To be a point behind 6th place at Mirren, though Saints do have a game in hand. Let's then Let's hear from Amy Canavan back into the Championship. Hamilton Accies against Dundee. Amy.
Yeah, Dundee are certainly probing for that winner, Kenny, really wanting to go clear in second place. Paul McMullen, the half-time substitute, has been at the heart of absolutely everything. He's came closest. He curled in a beauty that nearly beat Ryan Fulton, but just skimmed wide. He then put it on a plate for Kwame Thomas, but Fulton saved the header from close range. And then just before you came to me there, just outside the D, he swirled in a free kick. But again, Fulton coming up with the goods and denying what could be another huge point for John Rankin's side, especially if Arbroath do get beat. Could claw back some much needed ground, but Dundee will certainly see this as an opportunity missed to leapfrog Ayr in second. It's Hamilton Accies 1, Dundee 1.
Quite the turnaround, Michael, at Tynecastle, isn't it? I mean, there's no doubt that sending off has had a huge bearing on that game.
Yeah, it's had a big bearing. It changed the dynamic, but Dundee United, just clearly settled into a defensive system. They looked like they were stifling Hearts. Second half there's been a reaction. Hearts have been better, but up until getting the first goal, didn't look as if they were getting through and breaking down Dundee United. As soon as that first goal goes in, it's definitely been the confidence booster. As you can just see it, Hearts have improved dramatically. But coming towards the last few minutes, inevitably Dundee United are desperately pushing to get that equaliser. This would be a big win for Hearts because they've not performed brilliantly, and to come off the back of that Rangers defeat, it shows that there is real character in this Hearts side.
Brighton has scored a late goal at home to Bournemouth in English Premier League. Matoma on 87 minutes. Brighton having a fantastic season down there. He's great, isn't he?
That's brilliant. Absolutely magnificent.
Yeah,
what a team they are.
They're a great team to watch, and the recruitment there, Alan, has been tremendous, hasn't it?
That's it. When you look at it, Saicedo, 70 million, being able to turn that down. You've also got a World Cup winner and Alexis McAllister in there as well. Getting 60 million for Cucurella looks great business for Brighton. Just, if you're Todd Bowley at Chelsea, you just go and get the full recruitment team for Brighton because he seems to be buying everything else up.
Yeah, save him a few quid, do you think? First full-time scoreline coming in, 4-2, Stranraer 1. Let's get back, it's very, very tight in Paisley. You were suggesting Stuart St Mirren coming back into it there?
They were for a few minutes, but I have to say, Kenny, that Hibs are showing a side to their game that I probably haven't seen. They're managing the game out really well, playing in corners, slowing the game down, taking their time over restarts in the game. So everything that the guys have been saying about seeing a slightly different identity in them is coming to fruition. So I can't really see St Mirren and all odds to getting back into it. And as it stands just now, Hibs playing in the St Mirren half and just killing the game with. We're just about ready to go into injury time, and we'll see how many minutes the fourth official puts up for that. But still 1-0 Hibs, Kenny.
Big goal in League One this afternoon, just coming through. It looks like it could be a late winner for Falkirk. They're now 2-1 up away to Kelty Hearts. Ruben Burrell on 90 minutes. As I said, 4-2, Stranraer 1. Also a full-time scoreline. Alloa 1, Peterhead 0. Yeah, Michael.
Stephen Humphreys has hit the post for Hearts. Would have put the game to bed. The Hearts broke up, and they had him, a goal, and Lon Shanklin was coming up in support as well. He dropped the shoulder, went to his right-hand side, hit the shot across the goalkeeper, came off the post and right back into Birigitti's arms.
You know what I've just noticed? Nicholas Raskin's come on for Rangers and he's wearing the wrong socks. He's got white socks on and the rest of his team have got black socks on. He's got like ankle socks pulled. Oh, I was looking at him going, something doesn't quite look right there.
There's a song about him. He does what he wants.
It certainly seems that way.
He does what he wants.
I think he's got the socks on underneath, but he's got his ankle socks pulled up so high they look white.
I've just seen it now, actually.
I'm surprised he's allowed to do that, I must say.
Wraith Rovers have beaten Arbroath by 2 goals to 1. The home side had gone ahead there. It's finished all square. East Fife 1, Stirling Albion 1, and Elgin City 1, Albion Rovers 1. The full-time scorelines starting to come in here. No doubt, Willie. Huge relief there at Pittodrie with this almost result coming in there. Almost a full-time.
Yeah, it is. And it's been a good performance. I think the fans going away from the game today will be encouraged by the performance, the attitude, the application, the organisation, as well as the excellent goals that's been scored. It was such an important game for both sides, and Aberdeen look as though they're going to coast it. Can't see Motherwell, who have only got that consolation penalty really to give them a bit of comfort. Aberdeen have dominated after the first 20 minutes and thoroughly deserve the victory that's coming their way.
3 minutes added on at Ibrox, and Ross County have a corner.
Oh, right, full-time scoreline, Airdrie 1, Clyde 0. Also a full-time, Bonnyrigg Rose 1, Annan Athletic 2.
Full-time at Ammonvale, Livingston 3, Kilmarnock 1. All the damage done in the first half.
Yes,
John McLaughlin's waving at fans again. He comes out, he goes for the punch, he misses it. Luckily his defender was there to clear it this time. Still remains 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, you think you go back to Alan McGregor for the next game, that's for sure. It's been poor from the keeper there. Full-time scoreline, Queen of the South 1, FC Edinburgh 0. Still playing in Paisley, Stuart Kettlewell.
Still going, Kenny. We've got about 30 seconds to play just as David Marshall launches it into the St Mirren half. But I can't see St Mirren getting back into this one. Still St Mirren 0, Hibs 1.
Yeah, real disappointment. We talked about that home record for St Mirren, the only side to beat their Motherwell on the first day of the season. I think they were lucky to do that, to be fair, looking back on the reports.
That day,
yeah, it was. I remember the reports that day, Rory. It was a...
Liam
was
Kelly
very lucky.
masterclass is what it was.
That's it, Kenny. Finishes in Paisley, St Mirren 0, Hibs 1.
As Michael said, that's a big win.
They're checking something at Ibrox. He's got his hand to his ear. Ewan Anderson. I think he might be waving play on now, but he was checking something as Jack Baldwin launches a long throw into the box. McLaughlin does get his hands on this one.
Yeah, and every few minutes there, County of course got themselves back on level terms. Jordan White with the goal there, but really cruel on Malcolm Mackay's side. Borna Barisic with a deflected free kick. It's one of these ones you watch in slow motion. The keeper, absolutely no chance. He was stranded, but a very good account of themselves. Malcolm Mackay said he looks to have recruited very well in this transfer window. Certainly some options up front that he hasn't had for quite some time. Still going at Tynecastle, Michael.
It's full time at Inverness. Inverness, Cali Thistle 2, Greenock Morton 2.
Thanks, Ailey.
Yeah, it's still going at Tynecastle. There was 7 minutes of injury time put up on the board. At the moment, Hearts are in and around the Dundee United box. Cochrane with a wonderful ball in there. Dundee United clearing. But they've been pushing the last few minutes. Dundee United desperately, obviously, trying to get the equaliser. But it looks as if this game might just go the home side with a 2-1 victory with the last few minutes of injury time getting played here.
A late equaliser. Stennismuir 1, Dumbarton 1, Matt Yates on 95 minutes. It's
Full
finished.
time at Accies. Sorry, Accies 1, Dundee 1.
Also in the Championship, Partick Thistle 0, Cove Rangers 1. They really needed that. The Paul Hartley side, Brian Graham sent off for the home team. No doubt Ian McCollum, there's some pressure in his job there at Partick Thistle. It's now a confirmed full-time scoreline. A late winner for Falkirk, winning 2-1 away at Kelty Hearts. That's you right up to the also full-time score from the English Premier League. Aston Villa 2, Leicester City 4. So still playing at Ibrox.
Yes, they are indeed. 3 minutes. There's been a few stoppages for one thing or another. A little check here. A few throw-ins and stuff as well. So the game still goes on. Ewan Anderson made a point of holding his hand against his watch to say that any time wasting will be added on. And Ross County, I think, have got another throw-in. Jack Baldwin's got a long throw in them, so I assume he'll launch that in as far as he can into the box. But as it stands, it's still 2-1 to Rangers.
That's a full-time scoreline now. Stennismuir 1, Dumbarton 1. The late equaliser there, 95th minute for the home side in that game. So still playing in the game at Pittodrie and the game at Ibrox and in the game at Tynecastle as well. Just looking there, United breaking free. Michael, maybe one last chance for them. Yep. We had problems with the line there at Tynecastle this afternoon, but what a turnaround from Hearts. Trailing at the break, Stephen Fletcher opened the scoring for United in 9 minutes, but then Ryan Edwards sent off in 29.
That's it, Kenny. At Pittodrie, Aberdeen 3, Motherwell 1.
Yeah, fantastic result. We'll hear from Barry Robson there in that post-match interview. He said he saw a big improvement despite the defeat to St Mirren. They were down to 10 men for a lot of that game, of course. They lost that game, but they won this afternoon.
Oh my God, Nick Walsh. He's a second yellow card, deep in injury time. I think it's Josh Ginnelly, and he was taking a shy, and he gave the ball, passed it off to somebody else, and he's given him a second yellow, sent him off. I mean, what an absolute nonsense.
What do you mean he passed it off to someone else, Michael?
Like gave the ball to somebody else
he gave the ball to somebody else to take the throw-in.
I see, right, okay.
What, time wasting then?
He's give out some yellow cards.
It really wasn't that bad. I mean, honestly, a second yellow, the guy's sent off for it.
Said it for a long time, Michael. They get involved in far too much. That is full time at Ibrox. Staggy's valiant performance should have taken something. It finishes Rangers 2, Ross County 1.
He's coming over. Oh, got away, Nick Walsh. Honestly, Garang Cole comes sliding over, wins the ball completely, and inevitably, when you're playing football, he actually makes contact with the opponent, though, but not badly. And he comes over, the whole crowd are up clapping him, and he runs over and gives another booking. Just give me peace, man, honestly.
Well, Robbie Nielsen's had plenty to say, hasn't he, Leanne, on referees this season?
Garang Cole does come in with 2 feet right enough, so I can understand why a foul's been given.
He slides across him.
I know, he doesn't go challenge though, Michael. As you said earlier, it's the game now. Those types of challenges are not allowed.
But, Leanne, watching this in real time, that one, it's not as if his foot goes directly into him. He slides across the player, wins the ball, and inevitably, yes, he makes contact with the player. But there is always going to be an element of contact because it is a contact sport. That is not a booking for me.
Even going back to the throwing, Michael, we keep saying that referees, they need to have common sense, a little bit of common sense.
He's sending the player. I mean,
I know, Michael. I agree with you. Game management, common sense.
But wait a minute, was he wasting time though, Michael? Did it deserve a second yellow?
No, it wasn't even. It really was not that bad. It was not that bad. And even if it, how about, Stephen Humphries has chipped the goalie! What a goal! Halfway line, over the goalie, 3-1 to Hearts. Have a look at that. With his left foot, he looks up, he sees Birighitti off his line, and he smashes it over the goalie into the back of the net. 3-1 to Hearts.
That's incredible. What a finish. He actually makes it look so easy, Michael.
We're trying to see if he's in his own half. Let's see here, Michael will tell you if he's in his own half. Is it him that picks it up and out to the box?
We'll wait and see if VAR checks it for some ridiculous reason and chops it off.
He picks it up at the edge of his box, shrugs one or two off in his own half, left foot,
delightful.
Bullet.
Absolutely delightful.
Tune into SportsZone tonight, you'll see that one. What a strike, and sealing the win, sealing the comeback for Hearts. They were under pressure, they were a goal down. Ryan Edwards sent off for the wayside, and from that moment onwards, Hearts piled on the pressure. Lawrence Shanklin in 71, Alex Cochrane in 77, and that exquisite third goal there right at the death at Tynecastle, just waiting for the full-time whistle to go in that game there. And then we'll get round the grounds, we've got all the reaction, we'll hear from the manager, plenty to say I'm sure this afternoon. Robbie Nielsen's had plenty to say.
That's the final whistle there, Kenny. 3-1 to Hearts. They've not even had time to change the scoreboard. End of the game, 3-1.
Yeah, bouncing back in great style, the home side there after the midweek thumping by Rangers. So all the reaction will go around the grounds in SportsZone between now and 6 o'clock.
Football from SportsZone.